There's no 100% security anywhere in the world. The more the ease of life, the more the security in it. One of the beauty about cybersecurity is also job security.
I'm so glad to be here once again. Thank you for the management team for this opportunity. There are some of us that are really planning to go into this thing we call cybersecurity, and we are still touching it at the surface because this is just essential. Every stage has the beginner, the intermediate, and the advanced. So we're really just starting at the essential level. And why are we doing the essential level? I'm just recapping this, a bit. One of the reasons why we're doing that as Sardonyx education is to ensure that you are well grounded, you know, you are well grounded, because that's the key to a successful life in anything you do, including cybersecurity. We've seen people, we've been part of the success story of many over the years, like Mr. Samuel shared some seconds ago. Someone just wrote his CCSO exam and he passed yesterday. That person has been with us for years, and you know what that means. He has risen through the ranks. He has, he's at the top of the whole, management of cybersecurity in one of the top organizations in Nigeria. As we keep going on, we might get to meet a few of our people that have gone through our training at one point or another. But there's one thing that is the key to that level of success. It's simply your resilience, your focus, and your willingness to continue growing, and that is one of the major things. Nobody will spoon feed you in cybersecurity. You must be ready to go out there, find the fish. You must be ready to go out there and gather more information as you keep growing. So this stage that you are in is just the beginning of the beginning, and you keep at it. And I know on this call, I have a number of persons that started, you know, like quite 2 years, 1 year, and the journey is not the same from where they started. And from time to time, we keep revisiting the basics also to ensure that we strengthen because the industry is becoming newer and newer every day. As part of the essential training, also towards the tail end, we're going to be touching on AI essentials, in addition to your digital forensic essentials, and in addition to all you have been doing prior to this time. Before I proceed today, I saw some questions, like someone said he has a question. Okay, so let me do a clarity check here. I know this group is a group with both essentials and internship, right? So, Ugochike, maybe you're speaking to that of the internship, right? That's the one that is 6 months. The free training, which is the cybersecurity essentials free training, it's very important you separate that so that we will all have that understanding. The essential program, which is just like a cyber entry program, as the name is, is to welcome people that are totally new to cybersecurity, right? And so that everyone can find their footing, and then also, if you have been in the industry also, there's nothing bad there for you to go back to the basics because the basics is still where the main thing is happening. There are many people that skip the basics, wrote exams, they passed, they got good roles, and it got to where they would do the job. Or more support in law, it's another story entirely. So many had to come back to class to be able to build a solid foundation. That is why it is a mandatory process for anyone taking our internship, 6 months internship, to come in into our essential program and re-energize yourself. You pick, one or two things you revisit because things have changed. Back in the days, year 2000s, 90s, and all of that, the technology that was raining then is no longer raining like that. Even if it's raining, it has come with the new version. version 50.0, version 100.0, you know, as the case may be. So it's always the best to always go back to the basics and ensure that, you know, you refortify yourself, because a soldier will definitely need to rearm himself when the bullets are out, you know. But a soldier that knows how to build bullets during the war is a great asset. So while you are still trying to, you know, rearm yourself, you still learn how to uh, build more bullets and build guns, you know, so that you don't have to always come back to that. But it's very, very essential that you are able to delineate between the two programs. So officially, by next week, the essential programs is going to wrap up. You know, then the internship 6 months program will continue. If there are no questions, I would want, okay, yeah, Adeshola IJI, kindly unmute and speak.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, and happy first day of the month. Happy
Same
Sunday.
here.
Please, I just want to remind every one of us, because I heard that some people are ahead of most of us. Like, as I am now, I literally know nothing about cybersecurity. So you understand. So like
Okay.
yesterday, when there was a guy that asked a question, so he was talking in terms, in their terminology. So you should consider we that we don't understand anything about it. When he was asking a question from Mr. Timileyin, and he was trying
Okay.
to explain something to him. So because when they ask questions, we that don't know anything about it, we can gain something too. So they should try to consider us and explain, make it simpler for us, so we'll be able to grab. Thank you, sir.
Okay, that's fine, Adeshola, and that is noted. I will still speak to that. Okay, are there other questions? Sunkade Fashola, is it the Fashola of Lagos? Please unmute and speak.
Fashola of Abeokuta. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. My question is, I want to ask the difference between security control and security framework.
Okay.
Like the two is kind
Security.
of like it's confused. Like, is it confusing? Yeah, kind of.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. It shouldn't confuse. Um, um, I would always say this. Um, there is nothing totally new if we understand English. Let me put it like this. So basically, everything in tech, and this is to you, Adeshola, also, because I know, yeah, as a total beginner, it can be overwhelming, right? And sometimes when we start those technical jargon, it will look as if it's big. You know, I'm breaking it down for our understanding. You know, technical control is speaking about a specific control, right? And when you're looking at, sorry, can you go over the question again? Security framework, right? Am I correct? Sukade Fashola, your question was around technical control and security framework. Am I right?
I
Oh, is
think
on
he said
another call.
security. I think he said security control and security framework,
Oh,
like the
okay,
likes of
okay.
the technical and then the framework, the other one.
Okay, so let me break it down like this. I was almost narrowing it down to technical control. Okay, so when you're looking at security control, you're talking of individual elements that helps you to gain control over a thing, right? When you're talking of a framework, you're talking about the sum total of all the elements that are required to gain that control. Do you get? So a framework is a collection of so many parts or so many individual controls, be it technical, be it security, be it policy, you know, that makes up a framework. A framework can be likened to a system. Do you get? I used to play with these words back in those days when they will say, um, define a computer system. Who can define a computer system for us here on this call? Can someone help us with that?
It is an electronic device that access data, processes data, stores data, and brings
Sorry,
out.
who is speaking, please?
Oh,
Abdullahi
sorry, sir. My name is Oita Prince.
Oiza Prince. Okay, please go ahead.
Yes. So it is an electronic device that accepts data, processes data, stores data, and brings out meaningful information
And
through the
brings out
help of
information.
a
Okay,
program
that's
software.
great. That's the one they taught us in primary school. That's the one they taught us in primary school, and everybody is still using it till today. Yeah, if you're using it at this point, we can still manage it. But by the time you start your CH class officially, before the end of that class, you must not define a computer system like that. We will look for Rimo code for you. Okay, so basically, right, the word system in a computer system simply signify the collection of so many items, right? Just like we have the digestive system, right? We have the respiratory system. We have other systems. We have the government system. They are all systems, So when you talk of framework, what you are referring to is a collection of, multiple parts. And then when you're looking at security controls, it means that you are now highlighting each of those, control as they speak to what you want to speak to, as the case would be. Adeshola, for your question that you asked earlier, which is still similar to
I
what,
can hear you, sir.
yes, for your question that you asked earlier, I would literally say, like Samuel mentioned earlier, our classes are starting tomorrow. So you might want to reach out to him if you want to take part in the full classes. Like we said, this is just essential. Like, when they say you ain't seen anything yet, so it's still at the basic level. Do you get? When you come fully into the class, we might be able to have more time to deep dive into so many things. But that's not meant to debar you from saying, okay, let me go into these things more. One of the strengths of anyone in cybersecurity is research. God has made life much easier for us. You have AI today, so you can literally ask AI any question. So yeah, you're in the class, you don't understand, just note the ones you don't understand. If there's no time to answer maybe many of those questions, it's not bad. The recordings are available there. You can go over it because it's everyone's duty to be able to do that due diligence, right? You can go back to it, take notes, and then ask, the AI systems. It will give you one or two answers. If it's still confusing, you can equally reach out to your instructors. Do you get? Especially when you are in a full class. So the classes will be starting tomorrow. CCT, which is a certified cybersecurity technician, CEH, which is a certified ethical hacking, is starting tomorrow in full force. Many people have started registering, and I was told that anyone coming from this particular program will be given a discount. That discount too doesn't come free, because in Nigeria, the moment you hear something free, everybody will just rush to it. There will be an exam at the end of this, so you must do well to be able to say, okay, yes, let me do well in this exam. So if you have not been reading, you have not been practicing, please start doing that, prior to the end of the free program, so that once you take the exam, you'll be eligible for the discount, right? Your score will determine the kind of discount you will have, because we are focused, like, from the beginning. I know many of my colleagues will have mentioned this. Sardonyx education is not just standing on its own. Sardonyx itself has two major outlets, which we call the technology arm and the education arm. The education arm is where we all are at the moment, where we are training more persons to come into the industry. Because why? There is a lot of job vacancies out there. Now, when I say there is a lot of job vacancies, it doesn't mean that, oh, you just catwalk and come inside. No, you have to work, oh, you have to read, oh, because the job vacancies that are out there is looking for people that will provide solutions, people that are ready to think outside the box, people that would go out all their way to ensure that, yes, I get a solution to this problem. Cybersecurity is not for quitters. Cybersecurity is for those that their minds are made up, to be able to grow. And that is why we in the technologies don't just want to stay in consulting, because in consulting, we see a lot of things that will bring into the class to teach. And after we are done teaching, we'll have people that will rise and then be able to take up those roles. Trust me, if you are able to grow and find your way into cybersecurity, it will be one of the best things you would ever, gift yourself in life. So it's very, very, very extremely important that we're able to separate between those things, and also so that we can manage expectations, right? There's a lot of things out there on the internet. Oh, do this training and you start making money. Ironio, you not start making money. You must do the work. Oh, nothing comes free. Oh, yes, you have to do the work. And that is why we are here to ensure that, yes, we set the priorities straight, and we make sure that, yes, your mind is focused on result orientation. And I know so far so good from the beginning of this class till now. There's no one here that will say, I didn't learn anything, or no, I've been hearing a lot of testimonies, and I'm happy. Why? Because many people are coming up, and then with the AI regime coming up faster than we can think, we have a lot of security to battle. So everybody must be on our toes, right? You cannot put a light candle, and put it under your shelf. In Yoruba, they will say, "Don't financially relation," that kind of a thing. So, so that's just that. Okay, are there any other questions? Please feel free to ask your questions. I'm taking questions today before we go into the second part of network defense. Okay, if there are no other questions, I would kickstart by asking us questions. Can you raise up your hand and give us a quick recap of what you did yesterday for everyone that was in the class? Just raise up your hands. Opeyemi, can you please note those that contributed class? Thank you. Kindly raise up your hand and give a quick recap. Okay. Okay, Chukwu's Harrison. Hope it's not Guamnishu. Okay, Chukwu Harrison, please unmute yourself and speak.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Yeah, I'm good. Let me give you a recap upon what I learned yesterday.
Great.
First of all, I enjoyed the class where we talked about I think most of the things we talked about were the GROC of cybersecurity yesterday, on the rules and regulations, the policies, the do's and don'ts, and how to organize ourselves in an organization as a cybersecurity specialist or expert, how to carry on the company. Also talked about the what you call it, the I am, yeah, the I am, and some other stuff we talked about. So let me throw key on some other key points that we talked about yesterday. Let's talk about we've talked about the security control access. We made mention is about security the access control, sorry, the security access control. It's all about the selection of restriction of access of to an asset for a system in network. Example, like putting different stages of different office stage, like the junior pen tester and all that, giving them their own role and a restriction of the company, especially organization, where they are meant to operate and where they're not meant to operate. So we talked about that. We also talked about some principles of the access control. Then I also enjoyed when we talked about the access control model, the mandatory access control. Then inside the access and the mandatory access control, we talked about the rule-based access control, the role-based access control, the also the rule and the role-based access control, the two of them. Then we also inside the IAM, we talked about different security authentications. We talked about the authentication, we talked about the authorization. Then the authentication, we talked about different part of the authentication. So we talked about the smart cards. And the smart card is an example of a physical security access. Talked about the smart card. We talked about the biometrics, the passwords, the single sign-on, that's the SSO, then and some other stuff we talked about too. Then we also went down the IAM. We talked about the centralized in the authorization. In authorization, we talked about the centralized and the single. Then we talked
Okay.
about other like the accounts and so.
Okay, that's a very good one now. Okay, Chuko Harrison, it shows that you were paying rapt attention and you took your notes properly. Please, your digital round of applause for him, your digital emojis for him. That's a very, very good one. Very, very good one. Okay, I can see Iyola Bolutife, your hand is up. Please go ahead, unmute and speak.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Good afternoon. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I will just do a quick recap about what was taught in class yesterday. So we talked about, or Miss Tatimi rather talked about network security fundamentals, where we dive deep into the types of network defense approaches, that is preventive, retrospective, reactive, and proactive, and also in addition to what the last person just said, that is Okechukwu, where we talked about where he shed more light on the GRC part. And one thing I've learned about GRC and cybersecurity in all is that it's not, it used to be, or security in general used to be reactive, where we would wait until the threat is identified. But now with the evolving threats and the landscapes of attacks, it has now turned to proactive, where make decisions based on things that might happen. And also, we talked about the network security protocol, where we have the radios, attackers, the Kerberos, the IPsec, and also the HTTPS and SHTTP. Then we delve deep into the types of controls. We have the admin controls, where we have the access control models, the MAC, the DAC, the RBAC, and the rule-based. The MAC is the mandatory, where admin has all the rights. The DAC is where the end user has rights. The rule-based access control is the permissions are just assigned based on the user's rules. And we also have the rule-based, where where rules are given based on the user's rules. And we also have types of authentication, where we have the password, the smart card, the biometrics. That is something you know is the password, you have it at hand. Something you have is the smart card. Then we have something you have, which is the biometric, the fingerprint, the vein structure, the retinal. And we also talked about the physical security controls, where we have the preventive, detective, deterrent, recovery, compensating, and the corrective. And we also have the technical controls, where we have microsegmentation, network segmentation, network virtualization, the bastion host, the demilitarized zone. We have the firewall. We have the network address translation, and we also have the VPN. So Yes. Thank you.
Okay, that's a great one. A wonderful round of digital round of applause for him. Drop your digital emojis for him. That's a very, very great and precise one. Iyolaboluwa Tife. Precious Gift, I can see your hand is, oh, sorry. Before Precious Gift, I can see uh Oita Prince Okwe. Your hand is up, please unmute and contribute to what Iola and Harrison have just spoken about with respect to the recap. Prince, your hand is not up again. What happened? There's no shy or fear here. Oh. Everybody will talk. Oh. Everybody must speak. That's part of the training.
Yes, sir. I wanted to add, but then he said he has said everything that I wanted to say. So
There's no how you can say everything.
he
He didn't say everything.
he
I don't
the
agree.
the first person that spoke about the summary, he didn't really go through model 3, where
Okay.
they talk about
So
types of
add to what
controls.
they said.
Yes, that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah, go ahead now. We're listening.
So he didn't mention I know he had it on his notes. Maybe he was just tired. So he didn't mention model 3, where they spoke about types of control, administrative, maintain trust. We spoke about security policy, then advantage of security policy, characteristics of a good security policy, employee awareness and training, those areas. So that was what I just wanted to add to it.
That's a great one. A wonderful round of applause for Prince. No run again next time. Okay. Okay, Mercy David. Mercy
Good
David, of
afternoon.
and
Good
speak.
afternoon.
Yes.
I'm just going to add to what my colleagues have said. I learned about permission in Linux using the 777 binary, where we give permission using the read, the write, and the execution to give permission. And there is a command that's change mode. If you want to change permission to, maybe you want to give the group, or you want to give user, or you want to give others, and it was demonstrated for us. And I also learned about types of firewall: stateful, stateless, web application firewall, next generation firewall. And I also learned about VPN and proxy. So that's all from my end. Thank you.
Wow. A wonderful digital round of applause for Mercy David. I can see the hacker in you because she just started with that permission thing, how they can break the permission. That's the one she remembered. A wonderful round of applause for her. Drop your emojis. Then Ade Akode Omotayo, I saw your hand was up before. Okay, so unmute and speak. Please feel free to speak.
Okay, so I just wanted to add that though everything has been said, but I wanted to add a network segmentation.
I don't agree. Everything has not been said.
I wanted to add.
Mr. Timmy spent 4 hours yesterday. Everything has not been said. I don't agree.
So I wanted to add network segmentation, the benefit of network segmentation and the types. So I learned that we have physical segmentation and the logical segmentation, the network virtualization, and we also spoke about the bursting host, and we spoke about NAT, that is network address translation, and I think we also spoke about VPN too, and I think that's all. Thank you.
That's a wonderful round of applause. You see now, yeah, they didn't say all. There's still more. A wonderful round of applause for Akode Omotayo also. A digital round of applause. And other emojis. Okay, I need more hands. I need more hands. We're over how many here now? We're like 76, right? Yes. Chukuka, please go ahead.
Yes, so good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
We talked about the radios, which is the remote authentication dial in user service. I also talked about the steps on how the radios works. Then we also talked about the packers which he also gave us as assignments to do, which is the terminal access control system and the access control system. Then we talked about Kerberos, which is an authentication method for accessing a network. And we also talked about the read, write, and execute, where you can change in a way user can access a file.
Correct. That's a good one. Chukuka. Yeah, go ahead. You're still speaking. Go ahead.
I'm done, so thank you, sir.
Okay. A wonderful round of applause for Chukuka Unju Onyero. Azima Aina, please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to add to it because it seems everybody paid attention to yesterday's class, and then I just wanted to add to the Kerberos, which this previous person, but maybe let me just say, my own understanding of the Kerberos as a trusted security guard for computers on the network, and it's just like it lets you prove who you are once, then safely access many other services without sending your password again. So I would have loved to go in to buttress on it, but the previous person has.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so let's say in a real life analogy, real life state now, for example, like a school or office, you log in once at the gate with your ID, then the gate gives you a special pass, like a ticket or something. Then from there again, that ticket you have the ticket to enter to the library, like lab or office. So you don't need to show the ID again since you already have that pass. And I think Mr. Timlane make a reference, an example of our uncle in the village yesterday, if I can remember. So something like that. So more like how it works. You log in, enter your username and password. Kerberos server checks you like, okay, do I have this person on? Then if correct, it gives you the ticket. So you use that ticket to access every other things like email, file server app, and the rest. Thank you.
Okay. A wonderful round of applause for him. I can see Folakumi or Jemuiwa. Please unmute and speak.
All right, thank you very much. One of the things that I remember has been emphasized over and over again is the fact that security is a lifestyle. So I'm not talking about a particular lesson, but like a mindset that we have to adopt as people in cybersecurity. And he gave an example of how when it was easy to, he talked about PCI and DSS card security, where they used to write people's names on their cards and how easy the small information that we let outside can cause us trouble in the future. Where you talked about how, like, if you take someone's card, you find the person's name, look for the person on Facebook, you find the person's date of birth, and then the lucky guy decided to use his date of birth as his password. That's how his account has become hacked. So that as practitioners of cybersecurity, we need to make it a lifestyle to be careful with our information, and note that there's no 100% safe system, but we just have to make it difficult for the hackers to able to get into our systems. And so that means we'll have to continually make our system not the one that people try to hack easily. We'll make it not easy to hack. And then someone asked the question how it was possible for your information to never be online. And then the instructor says, man, that's practically impossible, because as long as you go online, your information is easy to find. So basically, we should ensure that we live a lifestyle of being careful with information, people's information, and the things we learn are not for us to use to go and just make cheap money, but we should do it responsibly. That's why we're being taught to be ethical in our practice. Thank you very much.
That's a great one. A wonderful round of applause, digital round of applause for Oje Muiwa on that. Okay. I will draw the curtain for questions now, and I'll keep it to other times. I'll be continuing today from where my colleague Timmy stopped yesterday, which is Module 6. For those that probably missed the class yesterday, hope that recap will go a long way. The recordings are available on our YouTube channel and all other social media outlets. And then also the recordings also are made available in form of link where you can view them and then do other stuff. as it deems easy for you. But please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on our YouTube channel. So today we'll be going into virtualization and cloud computing. Please don't forget, all the things we have been discussing from the beginning till now are still essentials. They are like the basic of basics. It is when you enter class that we can do some other things. We can remove, some other things so that you'll be able to see deeper, and then because of the time constraints and so many other things. So we'll just take them at that level so that everybody can assimilate this. For those that have gone far already and looking to shake up their knowledge, it's a good place to shake up your knowledge also. Module 6 talks about virtualization and cloud computing. What is virtualization? Anybody from the audience? What is virtualization, or what do you think is virtualization? Just one or two persons? Anyone? Yes, Folakumi, go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Folakumi, followed by Azima.
Sorry, I was not unmuted. So virtualization is like making a copy of a computer or system in such a way that it can be accessed on top of another system. I think that's the simplest way I can explain it, like abstraction of the whole computer system and unit plus the OS and everything, such that you can access it outside of the main hardware. Thanks.
Okay, that's great. Azima, go ahead. Pick one.
From my
Virtualization.
understanding, virtualization is like an environment where you are able to add other things. If virtualization is like using an hypervisor where you can add other things like a computer, like Windows, and then the likes of the Linux. Although they can stand alone on their own, we can do that. We can install it personally on a PC, but then it's an environment where you are able to do something like remotely without affecting the host computer.
Okay. Christopher Ayodele, over to you. Quickly.
Okay. My understanding is virtualization allows you to be able to run different operating systems on a platform that separates it from your host system, so that you can do a lot of things without having it to affect your host PC. Where you can run different operating systems and softwares without actually directly installing it on your host system.
Okay, that's fine. For Laramie Taylor, go ahead. Quickly.
Yeah. Good
afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, virtualization is an environment where you have access, an independent access to some of the critical infrastructures that you need to run a certain applications without tampering with the hosts. So it can be cloud, it can be cloud based, it can be in any other form. But what is important is that you have access to all what you have physical access to, like the software, the machines and all that. Thank you.
That's fine. Ife Oluwa Adebanjo, unmute and speak. What is virtualization? Yeah.
Virtualization means like using one physical computer to act like many computers. Like for example, like when you have a laptop and you now run Windows in it, you have Linux, you have another Windows all at the same time running. That's what I feel. Yeah.
Okay. Peter Ile, sorry if I murdered the name or fathered the name. Please, Peter, unmute and speak.
Okay, thank you. Virtualization, as I understand, is creating a virtual computer on top of inside your physical computer. So you have your physical computer, but you want to have another computer separate from your physical computer. So using virtualization technology, that can be possible.
Okay, that's okay. Adeola Adekunle Adeleke, sorry. Please unmute and speak, and I think that will be the last person I will take.
Okay,
Adeola
it's Adenike Adeoluwa.
Adeoluwa, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
So I can just simply say it's the simulation of an independent computer system in a virtual environment, even though it's not totally independent.
I kind of like your last definition, simulation of an independent, system. Okay, that's fine. Everyone that mentioned, a wonderful round of applause for everyone first. You all got it, but you were talking about the characteristics of virtualization or what virtualization is used for. That's what the definition that most of you were given is. Virtualization is simply a technology. Let's get that one straight and keep it one side. It is a technology that is used for creating, just like Adeoluwa Adeleke mentioned, is used for creating virtual environments. I don't know if I'm making sense. It's used for creating virtual environments, right? From a single physical machine. So you can have one big gigantic machine where you can create more virtual environments on top of, for the purpose of training, for the purpose of use, for whatever simulation you want to simulate it. You don't want to go and test it on real life, So it's a technology that enables you to be able to do that creation. Now, many of us might have been used to VMware, some of us might have known Oracle VirtualBox. Those are virtualization technology softwares that are used to create a virtual environment from a single machine. And why do you do that? Because you want to multitask. You want to be more efficient, with your resources, basically. And that is why for anyone that is coming for training at Sardonyx Technologies, we'll always emphasize one thing. Number one, you must have a system that is not less than at least a Core i7. You must have a system that has minimum storage of at least 512 gigabytes of RAM. You must have a system that has, a RAM of minimum at least 16 gig. Now, why is the RAM going to be 16 gig? Because you're going to install, for example, a virtualization software. We're still defining virtualization, right? You're going to install a virtualization software that each of the virtual machines that will be used on top of that virtualization software will be running on at least 2 gig each, 2 gig of RAM, right? So let's imagine that you have 5 2 gig of RAMs running on your virtual environment. Out of 16 gig, how many gigs will be remaining? Anyone? Peter, I see your hand up. Out of 16 gig, how many will be remaining from 2 gig of virtualization? I can see Peter's hand is up. Anybody? You have 16 gig of RAM storage and you want to virtualize. Okay. Kindness, please unmute and speak.
6 gig will be left.
6 gig will be left. That's correct. Ugochirike, yes, go ahead, unmute and speak. Jude, unmute and speak. Or Abdulhamid Salisu, you can unmute and speak.
Isa
Yeah.
is Ugochikere, not Ugochirike.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry about that.
So it will be 6 gig left. That will be left.
6 gig, correct. Salisu also said 6 gig. So 6 gig will be left. Now, the 6 gig that is left on the host machine, right? That will be taking care of what the host needs, while the remaining 10 gig has been used up by the virtual machine. That's an example of what virtualization looks like, right? Now, that is just by the way, right? Let's deep dive a bit into uh, um, the other aspect of what we are talking about, which is what? Cloud computing. So who can define cloud computing for me? Note, virtualization is different from cloud computing, but they work hand in hand. Who can define what cloud computing is? Yes, go ahead, Peter.
Okay, so cloud computing is having your infrastructure or your system or your computer on in the cloud. In the cloud, in this case, is somewhere else aside your physical location, your immediate location. So maybe you are having your infrastructure with AWS or Google Cloud hosted in their data center. So that is where your system, all your system and the network is located instead of your physical location or your office.
Okay, that's fine. Rakib Adewale, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, cloud computing is the use of one's computer system over the internet in respect to a local or physical use.
Okay. Okay. Marvelous Komolafe. Marvelous,
Okay,
unmute and speak. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
Peter, you can drop your hand.
Cloud
Make
computing is basically using remote servers, them acting as storage and database over the internet. It basically, bridges the gap between having physical infrastructure and just having them in remote areas where you can share, and it basically stores data and information outside. So when you want to access, it's basically accessible over the internet, and you can access your database, your infrastructure, and everything.
Okay, that's great. Okay, Chuko Harrison, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good
Cloud
afternoon.
computing is basically using someone's computer. The computer we're talking about is running apps or storage space over the internet instead of your own space or instead of your own computer. So the computer in question is space remotely. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Jude, I can still see your hand is up. Go ahead.
Okay, to me, I would say that it is the delivery of computing services over the internet instead of using your own local computer or any physical server. That's what I can say about it.
Okay, that's fine. Bendetta Eze, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Cloud computing allow users to access computing resources like storage, software, and database.
Okay, that's okay. Fashola, go ahead. I saw your hand was up, Fashola. It's like you dropped it.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so that's fine. Everyone's definition of cloud computing seems very apt, but I would break it down for people that are totally, new to this. Because back in the days, I remember somebody asking me, when they say cloud computing, does that mean that they fly aeroplane into the air and they go and put a computer there, or what does cloud computing mean? That's seemingly what it looks like. But in reality, it simply means that you are remotely, like everyone have defined it already, you're remotely connecting to a system that has been created somewhere. So you're looking at your laptop that you're using to watch this class, or your phone that you're using to watch this class. That phone is a small system. There is a bigger system that is located somewhere else, right? And that bigger system is not is bigger than we can think. It's a big place, and the bigger it is, the bigger all the parts will be. So just in your mind, zoom in to the size of whatever you are holding, and imagine it in a big form. So you are imagining that your laptop is one big house, where the power button is as big as the entrance door, somewhere. Just imagine it like that. And it has big storage, it has big spaces. And what's the beautiful thing, in all of that? I think developers in Lagos are the first to even think of cloud computing, because you can travel from anywhere in the world and come to Lagos, and you would have an apartment that has, or a building that has apartments that are close to maybe like 30, right? And all you just need, you can't stay in all the building, you just stay in a small part of that building, right? And if anybody call you, you give them the address of that building, isn't it? So that's how, cloud computing seemingly looks like. You have a location somewhere where you can pay for services. You can pay for a room, you can pay for Airbnb, and stay inside. And everything you need is inside, or you pay for an apartment and you'll be the one that will buy all the things that you will need inside, right? Or you pay for, what do they call it again? I think it's a co-tenant arrangement, that kind of a thing. There's somebody who is already a landlord, who is sitting there. When you reach there, they will give you the second space and you will pay. So in cloud computing, you have such models that exist. It's either you are paying for a whole land, or you are paying for an apartment, or you are paying for a Airbnb, and you are paying for an apartment that you will furnish. It's different from you are paying for an apartment that has been furnished for you. That all you need to do is to just stay there, and when you are done with whatever you are doing, you go. Do you get? So that's the idea, the basic idea behind cloud computing. So in this module, we're going to be looking at understanding virtualization, its components and virtualization enablers, understanding OS virtualization, security, and concerns, because we're talking security here, and we're looking at network defense. Don't forget, we're looking at network defense essentials, network defense essentials. So understanding the best practice for OS virtualization security, understanding cloud computing and its benefits. Yeah, it has its benefits, but don't forget, it has its own challenges. Whatsoever has advantages will definitely have disadvantages, no matter how small it will be. Overview of different types of cloud computing service. Like I just mentioned them literally now, the payment you made to get a land, the payment you made to rent an apartment, the payment you made to rent an apartment that has been furnished, different, they call them different names: infrastructure as a service, what do they call it, platform as a service, software as a service. Everything is as a service. In fact, very soon now you start having Gusi as a service, or Ogbono as a service. Don't mind me. Overview of cloud computing, cloud deployment models, right? Which is part of what I just mentioned now. And then understanding the importance of cloud security and its best practice. Please note this. We're looking at, cloud security and its best practice. So there are best practices. When they say best practices, we're looking at practices that you go anywhere in the world, right? This is how it should be done to get the result. No matter how you want to think outside the box, no matter how you want to think outside the box, best practice is telling you that when you want to eat, the best place to eat from is your mouth. You understand? It's best practice. Do you get? If you try to eat from anywhere else, you're on your own. can try to eat from your ear, can try to eat from your nose. Because why? They said all of them are linked together. Almost. Now you know, but best practice is best practice. That's what it means, and that's what it looks like. Okay. So when we're talking of virtualization, if you look at it here from this image, we said earlier, by definition, virtualization refers to a software-based virtual representation of an IT infrastructure, which includes networks, devices, application, store everything that literally makes up that phone you're using to watch this program now, or that computer that you're using to connect, right? We want to have it in a virtual form. I remember somebody asking then, sorry, I'm seeing two people's hands up. You have questions for me? Harrison and Eze Bendetta. Okay.
No, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I don't have questions.
Okay, that's fine. So basically, right, the virtualization framework divides the physical resources, which are traditionally bound to hardware, into multiple individual simulated environments. So virtualization, anytime you hear virtualization, just think of simulation. We don't want to do it live, so we want to simulate it. Let's just see how it is, right? And when you simulate, you'll be able to see a whole lot of things. Now, one of the advantages of virtualization, which would use in the security world still today, is sandboxing, right? So, for example, a malware, a virus, we want to see somebody send you a PDF, right? Let me start from there. You receive the PDF on your WhatsApp, but you don't want to open it on that WhatsApp, right? Even though maybe you've downloaded it, right, by mistake, or maybe your settings was set to auto download. Instead of opening it, you can copy out that PDF, right? Because you're not sure where the source is from. You're not sure if it is a virus or if it is anything. Can copy it out and take it to a virtual environment or a virtualized environment, and you open it in that virtualized environment, right? And whatsoever that is meant to happen to your phone or your system will literally happen to the virtualized environment. That's one of the advantages of virtualization. So the virtual architecture, you're seeing the image here. You see the application, the operating system, the virtual interface, right? And then all other things. So in a virtual or cloud computing environment, the server, the network, the storage is actually owned by the people providing the cloud computing service, right? Through a virtual environment, basically. But the traditional architecture looks like this. You just have the applications, your operating system, then the hardware, just like you are holding your phone, right? Basically. And virtualization approaches, you have full virtualization, you have OS assisted virtualization or para virtualization, you have hardware assisted virtualization and hybrid virtualization. When they say full virtualization, everything entirely that you're using to manage that process is virtual, right? I'm seeing someone's hand is up. Okay. Humbug, please go ahead.
All right, sorry to cut. I just want to ask a question very quick before you proceed. You mentioned sandbox. You gave example of somebody sending a PDF file and you're not sure about it. So my question is, we've known about visualization, and I'm trying to have a practical question. It is that, for example, let me say somebody send me a link and I'm not sure about the link, and I have Kali on my system. So I open Kali and use the Firefox there, and I click the link. Will my Kali be affected?
Okay, so basically, I know for EHE you will have done that, which has to do with phishing, right? So somebody sent you a phishing link. The aim of that link is when you click it, something should happen, right? And whatsoever happen is not something that should be totally obvious to you, right? It's something that will happen in the background. Just like you are walking around on the streets and then somebody just puts his hand in your pocket and remove your wallet or remove your money. The person is not intending for you to know, right? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can
The
hear you.
person is not intending for you to know that he has removed the purse from your pocket. Not in any way. Do you get? So the idea of that link is when you click on that link, it should probably give a reverse connection, right? More or less like when I say reverse or reverse shell. When I say that, I'm referring to what happens when you do a remote connection to another system. So the person just wants to be seeing what you are doing and be able to now steal from there. So in most cases, when you run the link, you might not even see anything happen. Or maybe the highest that will happen is it will redirect you to another link. Do you get? So the first initial link might even not be the one that contains the virus. The first initial link might be very clean, but it will redirect you to another link or another site. You must have come across that a lot of time. That will tell you click to log in. You click it to open another page. You click it to open another page. I know some people on this call that play Bet Nigeria might know that one. It will keep redirecting you until it gets you to where you want you to be, and then all the other activities you're doing, they can steal your password through that means. They can view your screen, they can take snapshot, they can, anything you type on the keyboard can be appearing at their own side and you will not know, right? Why? Because of just clicking that link. So if you do that in a virtual environment, because most virtual environments are single users, right? That is, you can, most sandbox are single users, not most virtual environment. Sandbox is a form of a virtual environment. So most sandbox are single users where the moment you are done and you shut it down, everything gets wiped off that memory, right? And it's more or less like an environment, just like you have. I remember those days they said there was is it Ebola or what's the name again? COVID, right? That they will say they take the person to isolation center. Exactly, that's the word. So it's just a center to isolate and then check everything you need to check so that everything is inside that place. It doesn't come out of that place. That's the whole idea. So that's just that about that. When we keep going further, you'll get more, on that. So OS assisted virtualization or para virtualization is the type that, for example, you are installing VMware on your laptop, and inside that VMware now you are now installing Windows 11, installing Windows 19, installing just like Mbok mentioned now, you're installing your Kali inside, right? It's a virtual environment. If it gets corrupted or anything happens, you can easily delete it and create a new one. Or you can delete it and copy, you have a backup somewhere, copy it back because you felt that one has been corrupted. Once it's corrupted, you can discard it and then bring another one inside, And then you have hardware assisted virtualization, whereby it's totally installed directly on the hardware. There are hardwares that are built for that. There's hypervisors, there's VMware, ESXi, and so many of the VMware series, that are built for that, for enterprise solutions. And then you have the hybrid virtualization. Yeah, hybrid virtualization is a mixture of all the other virtualization types that we've mentioned earlier. We're talking of level of virtualization. Storage, you can virtualize your storage, you can virtualize the file systems, you can, do server virtualization, and then fabric virtualization. Types of virtualization, operating system virtualization, network virtualization, and server virtualization. You have desktop virtualization also. You get to some websites where you can literally carry out some things that you could do on a major system. That's a form of virtualization also. Okay, so this is the image I just showed us earlier. This is the traditional type, and this is the other type. Okay, so that's that about that. Let me scroll up. What are the major components of virtualization, or what you look out for? Number one is the hypervisor or the virtual machine monitor, which is actually an application or a firmware that enables multiple guest operating systems. So if you're looking at this, you're saying that for virtualization to actually occur, the system or the hardware that you are using must be able to carry it. If it's not built for that purpose, it cannot do virtualization. Please note that it's very important. So when you are getting your system for your class, you have to think of it. When you're getting your system for your class, you have to think of it and you have to cross-check all of that, so that you don't go and buy a system that cannot do virtualization. I saw someone the other time, he bought Core i7, I think 3rd generation or 2nd generation. And currently now, I think we're on 14th generation. Because of money, yeah, you won't blame him. But he could have asked the proper questions before getting that so that we'll be able to get the best out of that. And then we have guest machines, or virtual machines, independent instance of an operating system created by a virtual machine monitor. That's like the example I just gave some minutes ago. Then you have host machine or physical machine, which is the real physical machine that provides computing resources to support the virtual machine. The real physical machine must be well built for that purpose. You cannot go and get a 4 gig RAM and say you want to do virtualization of about 10 gig. The system will you just see smoke coming out. Tooth. Then you have the management server, which is the virtualization platform components used to directly manage the virtual machine itself. You have the management consoles, which are the interfaces used to access, configure, and manage virtualization products. Now, in an enterprise environment, you would see that there is a system that is being placed somewhere. They have the storage, they have everything, but they need to be able to connect to it. They cannot just walk into the server room and just speak English to it and it will work. No, they need an interface, a management console. Most times it's always maybe in an MS-DOS form, or it's in a KVM, a KVM form where you have the KVM connected to many servers. So from that KVM, you can literally log into those many servers and you'll be able to carry out configurations. You'll be able to carry out different settings depending on the needs of that organization, But as we go on, some of this will get very, very clear also. So you can see the image on your right where you have the management console, management server, the virtual storage, the virtual machine itself, and so many other virtual machines that you want to bring up. Then you have the virtual network. Now, virtual machines individually alone, they are useless without a virtual network, right? Virtual machines individually alone are useless without a virtual network. And why do we even need a virtual network in the first place? We need a virtual network for effective communications between virtual machines. Like, we were giving an example of controls the other time, technical control as it relates to Kerberos authentication. So let's say, for example, one virtual machine is hosting your database. Another virtual machine is managing your authentication. Another virtual machine is doing so many things, is your file server. The 3 virtual machines, for example, in this case study, will need to communicate with one another to be able to share information and resources. So it's not just everybody is going to allow to have access to that. So one virtual machine might be a standalone for authentication. When authentication is done, it allows you access to the file server. And then from the file server, it can retrieve information from there based on what you stored in it and then provide it for you over a web browser. So what you are seeing is just your username and password. At the back end, what is happening is your information is going from one server to another on that particular network. And the moment you have those networks, you need to protect it, which is the reason why you build fence around your house. So there are some houses you don't build fence. And if you don't build fence, that means anybody can walk in and just carry you and go, So, and even if you build fence, somebody can still come with gun I tell you to open the door. You know, so that's just that, by the way. Please, let's note that is very important. Then you have the virtual enablers. You can't talk about virtual enablers without looking at software-defined network, which is SDN. You know, and then we have the network virtualization. You have the network function virtualization also that are in place for that. Let me mention this. If you go to Google and you search for, everyone do this, search for Aviatrix HCE certification. Yep. You might want to play around with this. I'm not sure if they're still giving the free. Okay, look at this. For a limited time, this training is free with the code this. You can see this. So you can visit that site. You're looking at networking. It would open your mind to some of that. Let me drop that link here in the chat box. And there are so many other resources out there you can play with, you know. Okay. So you can see this. So it talks about cloud networking and the basics of it. Okay. So that's that about that. And then you now have common virtualization vendors, the VMware, the Citrix, the Virtual Ion, the Microsoft Hyper-V, the VirtualBox. It's very important that you know all these vendors, right? Very, 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 very important because you'll be coming across them from time to time. If you're in the cybersecurity space, you must come across them. And then now, for some scenarios, VMware ESXi, which was the one I mentioned earlier, this VMware ESXi is different from VMware Workstation Pro that we are using on our system. This is for enterprise purpose, and there are so many of them, you know, of different, you know, categories that do different works. The reason why you must know much about this is so that you will be able to advise when the time comes and be able to say, oh, for this particular implementation you want to do, you need to use Microsoft Hyper-V, and you'll be able to justify the reason. Oh, it's faster, it's smoother, the process is easier, or it doesn't waste network bandwidth. It doesn't, you know, all those analysis will come into play. So while at the essential level, we know them by name, we know what they do, we know what, you know, their history is and all of that. When it comes to practicality and use, you'll be able to say, no, we can't use Citrix Hypervisor for this because of these limitations. We can use Microsoft Server Hyper-V because of this. Oh, because of that, because of that. You'll be able to explain technically. Please note that is very, very, very important. And there are a whole lot of information on their website also. OS virtualization, security, and concerns. Okay. Oh, thank you for that nudging. Please, let's take a 5-minute break. Okay, let's proceed. OS virtualizations and security. Security is always a concern, you know, in anything that has to do with IT. You can't talk about OS virtualization without talking about the system kernels itself. What is system kernel? System kernel is the core, like the heartbeat. Is the main thing that is making everything to breathe. You know, it's the main thing, main component that is making everything to even work in the first place, you know, especially the software aspect of it. Don't forget, for you to be able to have a device working, up and running, right, you must have the hardware and the software, right? One cannot stand alone. It's just like you want to separate a snail from its shell. The moment you do that, it is inside pot of soup. You know, that's what that means. You get. So they can't be separated. The software cannot stand alone without the hardware. It must need a hardware, or the hardware must need a software. So when I'm talking about system kernel, I'm referring to software, right? And it's virtually replicated in multiple instances of isolated user space, which we most refer to as containers. Just think of it in your kitchen. There's that container that's containing something. It will shall contain something. If it's not containing salt, it will contain Maggi. If it's not containing Maggi, it's containing crayfish. This one I'm talking about food like this. I don't cook it today. I'm only trying to make us understand how virtualization had been cooked, or how systems have been cooked. Do you get? So that they can all function well. And all those components are together. So when you're talking of system containers, in the big system, think of the system like the kitchen, it has a kernel. There's a heartbeat of that kitchen that must not go, that must not stay there just like that. It must be active. And if we are to look at it critically, what's the kernel? What can you liken to a kernel in the kitchen? Anybody? Anyone? What can we liken to a kernel in the kitchen?
Gas now.
Gas. Who else? I don't agree. Anybody else? Peter. What can you liken to a kernel in the kitchen?
I think the pots.
The pots.
Yes.
I don't agree still. Anybody else? I want another idea. What can we liken to a kernel in the kitchen?
I think it's water.
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 These three things you just mentioned are important too. But I don't still want to agree. What can you liken to a kernel in the kitchen?
The food itself.
A bottle containing your groundnut oil.
Salt. I think salt.
Salt.
Bottle of groundnut oil.
I don't still want to agree. The thing is a software, is a living thing. That's the kernel of the kitchen, though.
You yourself.
It's you, Gogo, yourself.
The chef. Yeah.
It's you yourself somewhere. Yes, it's you yourself. You that you are cooking, Gogo, you're the heart of that kitchen, though. If there was a day I traveled, right, and I left my kitchen, left everything like that, by the time I came back, dust was everywhere because the heart of the kitchen was not there, and I'm the heart of the kitchen. Every other thing is Jara. Yeah, for every instances, that's where it now comes into play. For every instances, there are some other items that are their own kernels. So, for example, you can say salt could be a kernel if you are cooking a soup. Do you get? You can say, oh, a particular container is needed for this soup to be alive. The container must contain crayfish, the container that contains snail, the container that contains Maggi. The same ideology, or similar ideology is what was used to create all of these things. So when you are reading all these plenty grammars, don't look at it as something that is extremely big. Just liken it to something you do on a daily basis, and you realize that these things are not so hard as we are thinking of them. They're not hard for us to assimilate. Let me put it like that, because most of the times, if you're not the type that pays attention to read deeply, or you've not mastered the art of assimilating what you read, you might find it difficult. But when you relate it to something you do on a daily basis, it's going to get interesting, and you would definitely like it. So a container is widely used for encapsulating an application and its dependencies. This is for this. We encapsulate it and keep it one place. This application is running. It will need A, B, C, D. It will be in its own container and use it for what it needs to do. And it can run in its own isolation from other containers, right? An application while utilizing the same resources. So you are still using the same kitchen. You are still using the same person. Do you get? But it's doing multiple things. You are cooking on one side. You are cooking. Why am I talking of food today? What's happening? So you are cooking different things in different areas, and then when it is done, you serve it to the public. And when you serve it to the public, like we see in the cloud computing now, a web page is running on AWS, a web page is running on Azure, right? They've put it in one container somewhere, and everything it will need has been put alongside with it. You get, so that is that. And then that doesn't still now stop it from vulnerabilities, and attacks and other security challenges that are associated with containers. For containers that are resident in the kitchen, for example, what are the major vulnerabilities that you can find? I need just 5. The major vulnerabilities. Please, anybody, unmute and speak. What are the vulnerabilities for the containers we can find in the kitchen? Thank you, Azima. Oh, yeah. Sharp, sharp.
If they are not properly closed.
If they are not properly closed, okay. That's a vulnerability. That's like open port, Abi. Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Any other one?
What about patching of the apps itself? Patching, updating of the app itself.
We're not talking. I'm talking of kitchen. I'm just
okay.
What are the vulnerabilities that containers in the kitchen can have? I'm seeing some hands going up and coming down. What's happening? Keep them up. Keep them up.
Leaking gas.
The leaking gas. A container that is leaking. That's a big vulnerability.
Then keeping the kitchen dirty from rodents and the likes.
Keeping the kitchen dirty. Why do you want to keep the kitchen dirty?
You said vulnerabilities. When it's dirty, it's a weakness. So rodents, cockroaches,
good.
Yes, rodents they'll roam about.
Thank you. Is that a reason to now bring in physical access control? Samuel?
Yes.
Okay. Is that a reason to now bring physical access control? Or
yes,
is it technical we're going to use? So if you put that trap for rats.
Yeah, it's physical.
If you put that trap for rats, is it physical or technical?
It's physical.
Physical. If you cover the container very well, is it physical or technical?
It's also physical.
It's technical.
It's physical.
It's still physical.
Yes.
You put trap there, it's physical.
It's physical.
You cover it very well. It's physical. Okay. What if you now put poison for the rats?
That's administrative control.
Real administrative control. That one is technical.
That one is technical. It's technical control.
It's technical control. I agree with you. So basically,
because
right?
You apply pesticides.
Exactly. So basically, right? You see how simple it can look. Do you get, especially when you understand it from that standpoint, and it keeps deep diving. Don't forget, this is just essential. That's why I'm making it as simple as possible so that we can relate. When you read more, you'll be able to decipher it and understand it in that way. Now, all these ones that we just mentioned is just a little analysis from the kitchen. If you deep dive, you will realize that there are so many other vulnerabilities in the kitchen. You get, and the kitchen has so many containers, right? And for those containers to be functional, there are Dockers that you have put in place. Do you get Dockers and Kubernetes, which are widely used for developing, for packaging, for running, the mortar you use to grind pepper, the what do they call it? The knife you use to cut. When you finish cutting, you keep it on the DC. You are not treating it properly, and all of these are used in security to manage applications and their dependencies in the form of containers. So what's container is? Container itself, virtualization based on an operating system in which the kernel's operating system functionality is replicated on multiple instances of isolated user space called containers. software containers, or the virtualization engine itself. So there is container as a service. Yes. You want somebody to be holding your container, you'll be paying them stipends every month, and then you just access it through a link or through a protocol, like Mr. Timmy mentioned in the class yesterday. Container management through orchestrators, right? Using the CaaS container as a service, subscribers can develop rich, scalable containers applications through the cloud or on-site data centers. And then the container engine, the managed environment for deploying containerized application. Yeah, Samuel, go ahead and speak. I'm seeing some
So I
hands
want
up.
to ask a question.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to ask if these containers are like a kind of mini kernel.
More like it.
Okay.
Yep. Just for that use. So I have a web app that I'm hosting, right? I can have everything I need for that web app to be standalone, that nothing else will disturb it, right? And it will be in one place inside that container. Basically.
All right.
Yep. So I can see Christopher's hand is up. Please go ahead and mute and speak. Christopher, you're dealing. Go ahead. Okay, it's down. Okay, Chuku Harrison. Go ahead,
Yeah,
unmute and speak.
We made mention of container. I had to ask if the container is like the in ASW, if it's like the SW bucket, like the
Yeah,
the
you're
bucket.
correct. AWS, not ASW. ASW is another thing, though.
That's the bucket.
Yes, S3 buckets.
S3 bucket, yes.
That's correct. And then you have the blob storage. You have so many other, stuff when it has to do with other cloud service providers, But like I said, I'm not going into details here because we're just talking about the essentials, and I want you guys to understand it very well. Do you get? When you come fully into class, yes, some other things will deep dive. That one, I would not smile so much. You get, because you have to be up and doing. Okay, so an automated process of managing the life cycles of software containers and their dynamic environment is what we call container orchestration. And then you have softwares that helps you to carry out that orchestration. Yeah, and you know what orchestration is now. Sometimes when you pray in church and say, "Oh Lord, every orchestration, every gang up against me, they should die by fire." That's the prayer we pray today, 1st of February. Yeah, you get. So orchestration is a process of more like automation, a process of putting so many elements together to be able to carry out a thing, basically. So that's just that. And then we're looking at container technology architecture, where you have this image here. You're looking at the developers. It could be me, it could be you, it could be any other person. We're testing an accreditation system, for example, and we have different admins that are managing those stuff. Don't forget, the center of all of these is the orchestrator, right? So you have the external registry. Image creation and testing and accreditation happens at this level of where the developers reside. You have the storage and retrieval of images. You also have the deployment and management of containers. This container is separated for this. This is managed by this. This information in container A cannot move to container B, especially when there's no connections between them. And if it needs to move, then that means there must be a process that is in place that will do the system validation, that will carry out the verification, and then do what we call the signing of the image before sending them to the registry. And the orchestrator is the guy at the center that orchestrates, is the one in control. You must have been in a theater, or you've seen where they do choreography, or they carry out classical music. You have an orchestrator who is in control. They tell you go high, come low, and all of that. So you have OS containers. Containers used as an operating system and run multiple services. Don't forget that. And examples of them are LXC, OpenVC. There are many. There are plenty. When you deep dive, we'll get to know more about all of that. Then you have application containers. Containers used to run a single application. Like I mentioned, I want a web app, and this application containers is running it. That's what it's doing. It's not doing any other thing. It's just running. Why? It will be faster for me to have an application container than to have an OS container that is hosting an application container. You see that the process of getting to my website will be far from me. Do you get? And that comes up from time to time. Now, an example of an application container that you use in your Linux environment, I know you've spoken about Linux, Kali, and all of that. An example of that is your Docker. So you can bring up your Docker and then run anything you literally want. And you discover how light Docker is, or how fast it can handle some stuffs. So those are the two basic types of containers: OS containers, application containers. And then you now look at containers versus virtual machines. Like I said at the beginning, there's difference between cloud computing and virtual machine. There's a tiny difference, right? And I know we've been able to clear that. The same way, there's difference between containers and virtual machines. Do you get? Containers are purpose specific. Please note that containers are purpose specific. They are not for everything. Do you get? They are purpose specific. They are containers. That is what we are putting Maggie here. Maggie is there. Virtual machines can be likened to the whole kitchen itself, where you now have many containers as you want to call them. So containers, they provide operating system level virtualization, while virtual machines provide hardware level virtualizations. Containers are lightweighted because they're just doing the basic thing they need to do, while virtual machines are heavyweight, right? All containers share the host operating system, while each virtual machine runs its own operating system. It's running on its own, right? Containers, definitely, because they are lightweight, they will not chop plenty memory, right? While virtual machines, they allocate, required memory to what is needed. Containers, you look at fully isolated, and they are more secured. Yeah, that would take us back to what Mr. Timmy mentioned in class yesterday about defense index, right? When he was using some example about traveling from Lagos to Ibadan, and you have many checkpoints, right? Exactly. So that's defense index. You have many checkpoints, but the checkpoint too must not be too much, because if it's too much, it will slow down. Do you get? And if you deep dive and you look at what you have been taught by Mr. Sampson, for the first class, that has to do with TCP protocols, the difference between TCP and UDP, right? TCP is connection oriented, UDP is connectionless. TCP requires three-way handshake, right? You must literally, get to each checkpoint and be sure, But UDP, straight up, you will get to where you are going, sharply. Even though if anything happens on the road, it is somewhat here. But TCP, you can still recover it, and then still flow with it. That same knowledge is still brought, down to this point also. Containers are isolated and more secured, right? Because they utilize the same kind of mindset as defense in depth, And then you have process level isolation, which is less secure, and that makes virtual machine more security attack focused than containers. Container is still inside. Anybody that will come and steal the container of your Maggie must first break through the gates of your house. It's not leaving your house. You must find a way to break through the gate of your house, either by using social engineering attacks or any other method. And when it does that, it will come upstairs, or maybe it's your downstairs, and open your door. When he opens that door, he will get to the kitchen door, open the kitchen door. When he gets that, he will open the cupboard door. After he open that, before he will not get to the container, container is inside it. Before you will see it, it will take a long time. That's just the basic ideology behind it. And you see those two examples. You see some of the examples there on both sides, on the two sides. You have the Docker, the LXC, the LXD, and all of that. You can Google those ones up and then be able to familiarize yourself with it. And then you see the virtual machine architecture on the right hand side here, where you have app 1, app 2, app 3. They are running on their own guest operating systems each. Guest operating system each. Guest operating system each. And then all of the three virtual machines are running on an hypervisor. When you start your CH class, you'll be able to see all of this, because your lab essentially will have this similar architecture, right? And then you have the host operating system that is carrying it, then the infrastructure. Infrastructure at an individual level is talking about your computer or your phone. Your phone might be your biggest infrastructure at the moment, but it's an infrastructure, right? Your system can be your infrastructure at the moment, is an infrastructure. By the time you start getting into enterprise infrastructure, you're now talking of 2 or more of these systems being connected together. You're now talking of, bigger versions of, 2 or more of your machines, that are being used to carry out, activities for so many people. We're over 200 million in Nigeria today, right? And we realize that in the banking sector, when you want to make withdrawals, especially, oh, the month just ended, salary has entered. Oh yeah, everybody rush to the bank. Do you think is your small system they will use to process it? Like the system that will process that kind of transaction must be a big system. And it shouldn't just be a big system, because we know ourselves in Nigeria. If you are trying to make withdrawal and that money did not come out, or more, the next thing you have carried phone on TikTok. Indian government, yo, VDM, where are you? Come and see, oh, I'll tell you our money, oh. Why? They need speed. That's the reason why they will use container for everybody, and so many other things. So that we understand how these things, interact and how they affect our day-to-day life. Then we've spoken about Docker. Docker is open source technology used for developing, packaging, and running applications, and all its dependencies in the form of container. Why? To ensure that the application works in a seamless environment. Just package and go, package it and go. So for example, now, this process has been put to use for a long time. I remember back then where you can literally run an operating system from a flash drive. Do you get a flash drive that is not more than then, maybe 32 gig, and the moment you plug it to the system, it's running. Or you plug it anywhere, it will come up and you'll be able to use it, as the case is. So that's that about that. Docker provides a platform as a service through OS level virtualization and delivers containerized software packages. Please take note of all of this. Okay, let me mention this. Some of the other components of Docker that you need to look at is the Docker daemon, right? Some people will say not daemon. It's not daemon, no. Docker daemon. Do you get that? It manages the Docker images, the containers, the network, the storage, the volume, and processes the request of the Docker API. What is an API? API is application programmable interface. Application programmable interface helps you to do the linking between the container and the outside world, the linking between the container and the user, the linking between, every element that needs to connect to it So they will say, oh, API request, API connect, API, that's what, that means. But I will just leave it at that level. When we get deeper, we can talk more deeper things about it. So Docker engine REST API, this API is used by an application to communicate with the Docker daemon. Then you have the Docker CLI. What is CLI? Now, note this, it will be useful all through your cybersecurity career. We have established that to every software, there's a hardware, right? Isn't it? Correct. The same way you have that, we're looking at focusing on a software now. To every software, there are two ways by which you can interact. It is either you use CLI or you use GUI, right? When we say CLI or GUI, people will be thinking, oh, they are totally different. No, the basic difference between the two of them is one is wearing clothes and the other one is naked. I repeat, the basic difference between CLI and GUI is GUI is wearing clothes, is well suited up with style, with the best gown in the world, right? And CLI is not wearing anything. It's just interacting directly, basically, right? And why do we have that? Which one will interact better? The one with clothes or the one without clothes, right? It's the one without clothes, right? That's the one that can literally interact better. Why? We call it CLI, command line interface. So you literally issue the command to it, to the operating system, to the kernel, to the main heart, to tell it what you want it to do, right? And before you can do that, I can't speak a language I don't know to you, right? So that's why we say, oh, he's learning a programming language. Because many people will think programming language is one big thing. No, it's not big. Oh. If you settle down and give it your time, just the same way you travel to another state or another country to learn a language, that's the same way you will learn that language. Nothing more than that. So I'm saying all of this so that we can start preparing and reworking our minds. There are a lot of fears that have been there prior to this time. So I'm just walking around frequently asked questions so that it's going to be easier. Command line interface, you are simply issuing commands, and the commands, many of them are written in English. They are written in fact, for some, they will tell you they're action words. You use action words. And what are action words? They are verbs. Forget this, insert this, and so many, commands, depending on the type of language, that you are speaking. But irrespective of language, structure is structure. But GUI is you trying to do the same thing, but you are fully kitted. You have this flashy look around you. You have this flashy thing, which definitely can align with the example that you got earlier of traveling from Lagos to Ibadan. It's going to take you a lot of time. It is going to take you a lot of time, and that's where this comes in. Are you seeing my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir. We can see.
Okay. Can you tell me what you're seeing?
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you clearly.
Okay.
You are using Google. You're on Google.
Yes. So that's where this comes into play, where we're looking at the usability triangle, right? So when application developers want to develop, right, they are meant to consider this when developing. Any application developer, website developer, any developer that did not consider this, right, will definitely from time to time fall into problems. Do you get? So some developers, they will put functionality and usability over security. What will happen to that app? Eh? What will happen to the app? If a
Very
developer put
vulnerable.
functionality, it's totally vulnerable. They will hack it in no time. They will finish the app within no time, within a short period of time. So for us as ethical hackers, as security personnel, as developers, as anything you can be in IT, it is always good to look at this usability triangle when you are making up a product, right? It would literally give you the step or the strength of that particular product. Do you get? In fact, in some cases, cost is always an issue when it has to do with functionality, right? You don't have plenty money, so oh, don't let us do that thing, Jared, until they hack them before they realize that this thing was important. And that is where, you remember I mentioned the word best practice, right? That is where best practice comes into play. You don't joke with best practice, or don't joke with best, because you will have to learn the hard way. You don't want to learn the hard way. You don't want to learn the hard way, man. So best practice is very important to save you a whole lot of stress, to save you a whole lot of time. So that's that. And while we're still talking about Docker networking also, we've established that Dockers are used for containerized management, for apps and all of that. Yeah, we need to be able to network them, right? And you can see this. Docker connects multiple containers and services or other non-Docker workloads together. Docker networking architecture is developed on a set of interface known as container network model. The container network model provides application portability across English heterogeneous networks, that is big network, enterprise networks, networks that are extremely complex, as the case may be. Then you're looking at network sandbox, each element being replica of one another, right? But you see that network on the left is different from the network on the right. The one on the left is gray color, while the one on the right is blue color. The one that is blue color, you have two endpoints there. The one that is, sorry, is that gray? How am I calling it gray? Orange, sorry. Orange. So the other one that is orange has two endpoints, also. So this endpoint, for example, can literally pick information from this endpoint, right? So it's more or less like, say, they have a VLAN, two different VLANs, virtual LANs, or they have two different departments in that organization, where admin needs to get information from accounts. Admin needs to get information from accounts. What the activities they are doing in admin is totally different from the activities they are doing in accounts. Abi? So it makes it a bit difficult, but they need a connection point where information can flow, through them. That's why Dockers too are connected. You can get updates, you can get information, you can push information out. So you have network drivers, you have the IPAM driver, then you have the network infrastructure itself. The sandbox itself contains the configuration of a containers network stack, such as the routing table, the management of containers interfaces, the DNS settings. I know you have heard of all of this information at some point or the other. Not to worry if you don't know them, but like I said, you can keep taking a note of all the new technical jargon you are hearing, and you can look them up maybe after the class, after this training. And then maybe by next class, we can talk a little bit around it. But definitely when you come in for the full class, we're going to, touch on so many of this, at deeper level. But like I said, we're still speaking at essentials level. So you see all of that. I've talked about Kubernetes. Let me just deep dive a bit. Kubernetes is also known as the K8s, right? It's an open source, portable, extensible, note that word, orchestration platform, right? When we talk about orchestration, you already know what that means. It's developed by Google for managing containerized applications. Do you get? So that's the main aim. You want to manage so many containers. You don't want the containers scattered in your kitchen. You want to be able to do so many things, with it at the same time. And that's where, for the person that first asked that question, that's where framework comes into play. So framework framework talks about, general oversight, talks about, having everything connected to one another, how it should, literally work out. And then framework is also, I think the other synonyms, not sure now because English is not my English is not my main language. Okay, framework is also likened to models, right? So when they say, oh, there's a model for this, your mind will be going to beauty pageant. No. When you say there's a model, there's a pattern. Do you get? There's a framework. There's the systemic arrangement of what should be done. Number one, wake up in the morning, give God praise, go to the bedroom, wash your face, lay your bed. That's like you're building a framework that you must do on a daily basis. Sometimes you can call it a routine, depending on the context, of the usage. Okay, so that's just, that Kubernetes provides a resilient framework for managing distributed containers, generating deployment patterns, and performing failover and redundancy for the application. Now, this English is a bit big. Let me break it down a bit. When you talk about failover and redundancy for the application, I gave an example now. Your salary our salary have entered. And then as he entered on 31st, me and you could not go to bank. So we now went to bank today. Everybody, more than half of us in the whole Nigeria, we went to bank to now try to withdraw that money at the same time. Who can tell me what can happen? Please unmute your mic and speak.
There will be the system will be overwhelmed.
The system will be what?
Overwhelmed due to traffic.
Okay, the system will be overwhelmed due to traffic. Okay. Somebody said the system will be attacked. Attacked as in now.
Jam-packed.
Jam-packed, good. That's congestion.
There will be queue at the bank.
There will be queue at the bank. What else again?
There will be queue at the bank.
What else again can happen? The AC will not work. Heat will be played. Go ahead. What else can happen again?
Because of the queue, the ecosystem might.
Are we not Nigerians here?
Fatigue can set in for the workers.
Fatigue will set in for the worker. Thank you. What else again?
There could be a bank run.
What's a bank run again? No. They require steal money.
People that are having low immune system might collapse.
People having low immune system can collapse. When you say there's going to be a bank run, that means they can go and rob the bank. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying bank run is when there is no sufficient money to pay everybody at once.
Oh, thank you, Jare. My English no reach that one.
Out of cash.
The out of cash. Thank you. What other thing can happen again? Do you think a armed robbers can go to the bank that they are going and go and attack people?
Sure. Yes.
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yes.
Because
that will provide an opportunity for them, a cover.
And the people that want to withdraw will not beat them out.
Will not.
The armed robbers that want to go must be more than the number of people that are there. If not, they will beat. You want to go and collect people's salary, Nigerians.
All they need is gun.
You will not be able to talk when you are seeing AK-47, you are seeing G3.
Are you kidding me? How many rounds does AK-47 have?
Nobody wants to die now.
One magazine is having there's a magazine that contains 30 ammos, and there's one that contains 20 ammo. So it depends. And that was the legal. That was the legal part. But as an armed robber, you go there with sufficient granates.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
You have worked with the bandits before. Okay, so now because of you don't want such a situation to happen, right? As network guys, as security guys, that's why you have failover and redundancy. It's a backup process. We call it business continuity and management processes that are put in place that should, in case so, if anything happens, right, you know, we have a failover, we have where we can fall back to, and we have redundancy that are kept in place. So that same system is what is implemented in the Kubernetes. Do you get for those processes? And each Kubernetes will definitely now have its own kubelets, you know, and the proxy to it, so that in case one fails, you can quickly through the API server connect to the adjacent one and gives you what you need, you know, and that makes it a bit much easier. Then you now have the container security challenges. Number one, inflow of vulnerable source code. Two, large attack surface area. Three, lack of visibility. Four, compromising secrets. Five, DevOps speeds, because it's hidden in the lungu of lungu, you know, like all those money that our grandmothers used to go and keep inside. You say, please help me go into the room. You turn right by the corner, pull out this thing. When you check that, you now pull out another zip. When you open another zip, beside it there's a cloth. Bring out the cloth, open the cloth. Inside
they
the
call
cloth,
it
there's a bucket.
in Yoruba.
There's okpo. Thank you. Inside the trousers, there's a bucket. You know, bring out the bucket. Inside the they've overhidden it. So to slow down the speed. Then you have noisy neighboring containers. You have containers break out to the host. You know, we are talking of container proximity here. And you also have network-based attacks. You have bypassing isolation, and you have ecosystem complexity. You know, the system can be so complex that it's going to be hard. When you're looking at inflow of vulnerable source codes, because it is open source, that's where the challenge is coming from. Open source means that you have access to the source code to tweak it anyhow you like. So, for example, I can literally say, I'm looking for an item that is open source. Just imagine anything you can go to the market and buy and put your name on it and still sell, right? That's open source. But they are saying that when you don't have right to sell it, right? For open source, you can customize it. When you are done customizing it, you can give it out. If you sell it, that means you have commercialized it, right? But when you customize it, you must go back to the people you bought from and tell them that this is what you did though with what you bought from them, or with what you collected from them, not bought. Let me use that word correctly. So from the top now, I come to you and I know that you have this thing, it's open source. I collected it, I customize it, I change it, I beautify it. I didn't pay 1 naira for it, right? After I customize it, it's looking beautiful. I will have to come back to you and show you what I did, right? That's the principle guiding the open source community, right? Anything you customize, anything you do, it's going to be sent back to the community for further development, for further growth, you know, and so many other things. If I don't do that, then it automatically becomes a closed source, right? And when it becomes a closed source, that means you have to pay for everything. You want to install Microsoft Word, oh yeah, pay. You want to install like iPhone does, anything you want to do, you pay for it, basically. Now, I think they're getting better. Okay, so that's just that. Then large attack surface area. In cloud or on-prem, there are many containers that run on multiple machines. This provides a larger attack surface area and therefore causes challenges in the tracking and detection of anomalies. I would say this as an example. For example, how many attack surface area do you think your bank account has? How many attack surface areas do you think your bank account has? You can unmute yourself and let's discuss that quickly. How many attack surface area do you think your bank account has? Your bank account is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that up to 10 digits or 11? Yes, 8-9. Yes. What are the attack surface area to your bank account? Sorry, am I still audible?
Yes, sir. We
Yes,
can hear you
please.
clearly.
Okay, so what are
Yeah.
what are the possible attack surface area to your bank account?
Weak password.
That's one. Yeah, it's close. Yes. Weak password admitted. What else?
Unupdated application.
If your account is
Banker.
accessible to others.
Okay, yeah,
If your account is
we
Unupdated
have
accessible
application.
to
Okay.
others.
open access control,
Okay.
SQL.
You said what? SQL
SQL
injection. Okay.
that's probably when I don't.
Social engineering.
No,
Yeah,
those are
sharp.
okay. So all social engineering, they are the attack surface areas. What you are saying are
No, like
correct though.
cross-site scripting.
Cross-site scripting. Okay.
Yeah,
Those are attacks.
probably.
So they are attacks, not attack surface area. SQL injection are attacks. Cross-site scripting, they are attacks.
The
Weak
ATM
password.
cards. ATM cards.
Thank you. The ATM card is one of the attack surface area to your bank account.
User inputs.
User input. I don't want to agree. Like the person that mentioned apps now. The person that mentioned apps now is also correct.
What about phishing link?
Phishing link. I don't want to agree.
From social engineering.
Yeah, social engineering can do that, yes, but
Yes,
they are not.
yes.
It's not an attack surface area. So those are attacks. Do you get? I'm talking of attack surface area. Go. Access. When you are talking of attack surface area, you are thinking of entry points to your account. So the first thing that should come to your mind is, how do you access your accounts? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
The person that mentioned apps, right? You use apps to access your accounts. You use ATM to access your account. How many of us still use USSD nowadays to access our accounts? USSD. That's star 737, 737, star 990.
Yes.
Those are attack surface areas. They are not the attacks themselves. They are just the entry points. So when you are thinking of attack surface area, what you should think about is the entry point to that thing. So what are the attack surface areas to your bank account? You are thinking of many points by which you can access your bank account, either by yourself or by proxy or through apps. Now, the app can be vulnerable. When the app is vulnerable, then you can start looking at SQL injection. When the website, the link is vulnerable, then you can start looking at cross-site scripting. You can start looking at all of those elements because you are trying to access your account using those methods, right? So that justifies that aspect. Okay, so large surface attack surface area, and like I said, attack surface areas can literally be for anything. It can be for networks, it can be for people, it can be for anything as far as security is concerned, right? And that is why when Timmy mentioned the other time that security should be a lifestyle. Security should be your lifestyle. Like, don't joke with it. You know, it's still that same mindset you have. Just like a soldier now. A soldier does not need to be a civilian. That's why a soldier will look at you and tell you you're a bloody civilian. Because the way he thinks every day, he's thinking that if gun should happen here now, or bomb should drop here now, what will I do? So you must constantly be on that mode. You must constantly wear that mode. Sometimes it can be tiring, but the moment it gets to be part of you, and that can only come through discipline, right? The moment it becomes part of you, it becomes easy. Then you eat security, you sleep security, you do security, you are security. You enter any place, they will know security has happened. Now, That's different from when you want to do social engineering. Because sometimes when you want to do social engineering, it can be anything, you know, and people will think that, wait, oh, this guy is not security enough, oh, but within you, you know you are security. So that's that. And then the DevOps speed, right? And so on and so forth, as we mentioned earlier. Then we'll talk about container security threats, looking at image vulnerability, image configuration defects, embedded malware, embedded clear text secrets, use of untrusted images. Those are things that happens inside the container also. And then I forgot to mention this when I was talking of the other time and asking you the attack surface area. So there are some of the answers that you gave that are actually security threats, right? They cannot be classified as attacks yet. They are security threats. So, for example, like the person that gave an answer that, oh, weak password. Weak password is not an attack surface area. Neither is it an attack, right? It can lead to an attack, but it's a threat. I don't know if I'm clear. A weak password to an account can lead to an attack, but it's simply categorized from our discussion as a threat, right? So, and threat. So, like you're seeing this now, oh, what are the registry threats when it comes to container security? Insecure connection to registries, stale images in the registry. You are using the same password you use for your account, for example. Your date of birth is your password, or your year of birth, or you are giving birth to in 1980, and then you went and punched 1980 as your PIN. Anybody can. That's as in it's so straightforward. Anybody can do that. I think there was something that happened one day. Someone registered on a site, right, and they literally asked for the person's NIN. The moment they put in the person's details for the NIN, it brought out the person's picture, the date of birth, the everything that the stuff has. And the person was wondering, she was afraid. She quickly reached out to me and said, sir, sorry, I wanted to register something on the internet. And as I put in the number, it brought out everything. I said, number one, is it a verified website? You know, because definitely for them to be able to bring out your details that way, then they have a link, a connection with the NIMSI, right? And there are people that are authorized, you know, for that, you know, especially when maybe when you want to collect loan, you want to do this, they ask for your BVN, you give them, you are giving them all your information, you know, and so on and so forth, like that. You have insufficient authentication and authorization, container threats also, which are not limited to the 5 you're seeing here. They have vulnerabilities within the runtime software, the unbounded network access from containers, insecure container runtime configurations, the app vulnerabilities, and then you have rogue containers. Rogue containers are containers that are deliberately planted there by attackers, or a valid container has been taken over by an attacker, you know, to carry out attack against neighboring containers. Just like we gave example of containers in your kitchen, you know. So one container has loophole by the side. Rat has been chopping from there. After he finished chopping, he realized that there's another container that is close to it. He chopped that container, finish, enter another container. That's neighboring containers, and it will keep, you know, going on and on and on like that, you know. So the same way in systems also, where you have container securities in place. You have the orchestrator threats. We said orchestrator is the one in charge, is the admin. You know what that means? The moment you kidnap the admin, what happens to the remaining containers? They will follow suit. You know, unauthorized access, poorly separated inter-container network traffic, mixing of workload sensitivity levels, orchestrated node trust. Then you have the host threats also, or host or operating system threats, which leads to the large attack surface area. You have the shared kernels, you have hosts, component vulnerabilities, improper user access rights, and then host operating system file system tampering. In order to avoid all of this, it is advisable, because we're talking of both the best practice, the countermeasures, a security network defense, guys. You have to think of how to defend yourself. Number one is to ensure that every of these elements are up to date, right? You have the right updates there. You give the right access. You must implement principle of least privilege, right? You must ensure that all the security principles are put in place. Who can remind me of what the basic security principles are? Anyone, unmute and speak before we go on break in the next 1 minute. Basic security principles.
Use a strong password.
Use a strong password. Yeah. Is a characteristics. Yeah. Simeon, I'll call you later. I'll call you later. Hold on, Simeon. Okay, so what are the principles from your previous classes? Principles of security or elements of information security.
Numbers, numeric numbers or uppercase should be included.
Numbers or uppercase. Who is speaking, please?
E.g., Adesola.
Okay, numbers or uppercase. Those are still like characteristics.
Good afternoon.
I want them in a group. Yeah, good afternoon. Who is speaking?
We have Prince Messi.
You said?
It's Messi that is speaking.
Okay, go ahead.
We have principle of least privilege. We have zero trust.
Mm-hmm.
We have
flowing. Mm-hmm.
Separation of duties. Principle of separation of duties.
Mm-hmm.
We have, I think, defense in depth is one of them. I don't know if it's a mode, if it's a concept or it's a principle. So
They are concepts. Everything you mentioned now are concepts, and it's correct. It makes sense, but that's not the answer I'm looking for.
Okay.
The first one starts with C. Azima.
Confidentiality.
Thank you.
Confidentiality.
CIA triad.
Thank you. Confidentiality followed by what?
Integrity
Okay.
and availability. Then authentication and availability.
Authentication and non-repudiation. A wonderful round of applause for everybody. Please put your emojis and put the love emoji that Mr. Samuel likes there. So that's what the principles of information security is all around. Now, in some questions they will tell you, oh, okay, CIA triads. The moment they say CIA triad, they've already given you a hint. But in some questions they will not ask, they will not tell you that way, right? These are exam tips and some other things. When we get there, we'll be able to talk about. So let's go for another quick 5 minutes break. Stretch your legs, stretch your neck, be agronomic, drink water, don't talk too much. Just in the next 5 minutes, and we're coming back. Thank you, everyone. Okay, guys, you're welcome back. Hope we're able to stretch a bit. Are we able to stretch a bit? Hello, are we here?
Yes, we're able to stretch.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We are with you, sir.
That's a good one. Okay, so we'll be looking at security as it relates to 3 major elements. So I'm grouping them together. We'll be talking about mobile device security, IoT security, and wireless network security. Now, these 3 elements are interconnected, right? You can't talk about mobile device without talking about wireless, isn't it? You can't talk about IoT without talking about wireless. right? Are we together? So I want someone to define IoT for me. IoT, what's IoT? Ate Shola, I'm calling names. Ate Shola, what's IoT?
Hello, sir.
Yes. What's IoT? Okay,
I don't
Folarami
have
will
an
call
idea.
you. You don't have an idea. Okay,
I
Folarami,
don't.
what's IoT?
Internet of a thing. Internet of
Internet,
things.
Internet of a thing or Internet of many things?
Internet of things.
If you say Internet of, okay, Internet of things, if we say Internet of many things, it is IOMT. Okay, Oseni, go ahead. What's IoT? I can see your hand up, Oseni. Ifeoluwa.
So IoT is Internet of Things.
Internet
It's
of
when
things.
it's when everyday objects connect to the internet and
Okay.
share data.
When everyday object, what do you mean by everyday object?
Like when you connect to the internet and share data, like when you can access the internet.
I don't agree. Oh. Who agree with him?
Jesus
Prince.
Christ.
Prince, help us out. Oh. It's not where you connect it out.
Sorry, the word is.
I think hello, can you hear me?
The
Yes,
word is
Prince.
supposed to
Prince,
use
go
there.
ahead.
The word is supposed to use there
All
is
right.
endpoint devices. Endpoint
Oseni,
devices.
just wait a bit. Oseni, wait a bit.
The word is
Prince,
supposed to use there is endpoint devices. That's what they call them. We don't call them. Yes, endpoint devices are devices that are interconnected. I mean, you can share some information from here to there. That's talk about your smart TVs, talk about your iPens, talk about your tablets, your phones, your laptop, your desktops, everything that you can communicate with any device that can communicate with one other device or the other. It's called an endpoint device.
Okay, it's called an IoT device or?
Yes, an IoT device. Yes.
Okay. Or endpoint device.
Yes.
Okay. Oseni Samuel, go ahead now. Thank you, Prince, for that.
All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, the other speaker actually mentioned what I want to say. So IoT is Internet of Things. So it's a connection of different endpoint devices like our smartwatch, sometimes our Bluetooth speakers, and any other device that we can connect for communication.
Okay. Okay, that's a good one. Gidel Wilson. Let me just call you Wilson, please, so that I don't scatter your name again. Okay, go ahead, Wilson.
All right. Good day. Yeah, it's Gideon Wilson. All right. So Internet of Things basically refers to physical devices that are connected, right, to the internet and then share data, which helps track activities online.
Okay, that's still more like it. Okay. Iyola Bolutife. Go ahead.
Okay. So Internet of Things are a collection of physical devices like our smartwatches, CCTV cameras, speakers that connect to the internet and does three things. So it collects data, it acts on data, and it also transmits data.
Okay, that's great. That's a good one. Simeon, please go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't call you again that time. Simeon, go ahead. Give me an team.
All right, so we are about physical objects. These physical objects are unlike a traditional computer. They are measuring things like physical parameters like temperature, like a motion, like a pressure, like a light, like a location. Then when it gets this information, it transmit that data
Can you
to
adjust your
another.
mic a bit? There's echo coming at your background.
All right, please just give me a moment.
Okay, that's fine. Let me call on another person while you do that. Kindness.
Please, what about now, sir?
Oh, it's better now. It's better now. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm saying we are talking about physical objects, unlike our traditional computer systems. They have embedded in them sensors, softwares, network connectivities, and then they are able to collect information, data like temperatures, motions, and so on and so forth. And they use this information by making actionable decisions, even without the need of humans over the internet.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. I will demystify some things very soon. Okay, kindness, please go ahead.
All right, for me on a person, Internet of Things are devices that has a VPN. So if it has a VPN, it means it can connect to the internet. And if your toilet can connect to the internet, you need a VPN. So perhaps fridge, toilet flush, light, and everything. So that's Internet of Things.
Okay, that's okay. Habib, Simeon, kindly mute yourself. Habib, over to you. Habib Oyelola.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, loud and clear.
I think my fellow colleagues have said it all. It's
No,
simply
they have not said it all. Though. They are still here
they've
with us.
mentioned
Not
they've
finished saying
mentioned virtually everything that I have in my, but let me still uh, contribute mine. Internet of Things is network of connected objects and devices such as phone, gadget, tablet, smartwatch, and all. And there are devices that require that are equipped with sensors and other technologies that will allow transmission of data from one end to the other.
Okay, that's okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
That's okay. Samuel Chukuma. Go ahead. Samuel Chukuma, please unmute and speak.
So I'd like to give like just a short definition.
I can't hear you clearly. Are you eating popcorn?
No, I like to complain. I think it's my distinct.
I can hardly hear you. Maybe you might want to check your mic. Okay, Peter, you can take it off from there, Peter.
Okay, so Internet of Things, to my own understanding, are devices and appliances in your home that can connect to your home network and talk to each other.
Okay. Prince.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I see your hand is still up. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That was a mistake.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. So basically, everyone have said the general, ideology and all of that, which made sense. I said that for a while also. You can drop your hand there, Prince. I said that too all for a while, but after some time, having looked and deep diving into what Internet of Things is really, there was a day I just woke up and I was asking that question, like, wait a minute, what is Internet of Things? Like IoT, everybody's shouting, yeah, it makes sense. And anytime you mention IoT, because the name starts with internet, we literally always think that yes, it must be connected to internet. No, It must not be connected to internet for it to be valid Internet of Things, right? Internet of Things came into being from what we used to call embedded system back in the days. Do you get? And what do we call embedded system? Embedded system simply means that you're building systems that can be tiny enough, that has what do they call it? Motion sensors in place. I remember my final year project was on home security system, right? That has to do with using basic architecture from controller area networks. What was controller area networks then? It's what we call brain box in cars today. That was controller area networks, whereby your car is moving and they can shut down your car from anywhere in the world. Like, it's fascinating, right? You can literally from your office, turn off, something at home and all of that. So now it is actually internet working of things, not Internet of Things. Yeah, internet is a word for WW, if you get what I mean. So when you say internet, you're looking at WW, yeah, which makes sense. Everybody knows that, right? We all know that. But this particular internet here as a word is internet working of things. So for example, in your house, you can have a network, a local area network that does not necessarily need to connect to WW, doesn't need to connect to the main internet, right? That makes life easy for you at home. So you have a 3-story building, you are staying on the third floor, and you want to turn off the lights downstairs. You don't need to walk downstairs to go and off lights, right? That is why embedded system engineers or computer engineers decided to come up with, oh, how can we connect all of these things together? That's where it started from. Now, it grew into the point that, oh, we have connected my whole house together. My kitchen, I can control my kitchen from my phone, can control that's what we call smart home today, right? I can control my door, I can control the light intensity in the room. I can do everything from one place on my phone, right? For security reasons, most times, many people decide to isolate themselves. So while you have connected everything in your home into one app on your phone, you dare not connect that app to the internet. You just want to be able to manage it. In fact, some people have an isolated device that probably is not even connected to the internet, that they use basically at home. Why? Because of security reasons. That's what we call network segmentation. You want to make sure that it is secure to a point that people outside will not have, access. You can say, oh, hey Siri, what's the time? Alexa, are you there? Alexa, turn off the lights in the 3 rooms for me. The moment you start using Alexa and Siri, you have included internet into it. That is the real internet, not internet working now. You have included it into it. That means that definitely your private network, right, which is your local area network, can be made available over the internet. So you are in US, you are in UK, as long as your local area network that is connecting maybe like 30 of your devices in your house together, right, is made available over the internet, then you can have access to it. Now, that's where when the person that answered VPN, they are connected through VPN. It's not everybody that buys VPN to be able to implement that. It's not everybody that builds VPN to be able to implement that. So many people are using the openly available internet to connect some of these things. And that's one of the things that makes it very, very risky, over the years. So let me just take us through this a bit. Let me say I'm coming here and you guys have played with Showdown, right? On EHE, Ethical Hacking Essentials, right? All I need to just type here is, let me just type IoT. I don't want to know where the IoT is coming from. I'm just typing IoT. Can you see this? Can you see it?
Yes,
Made
we
by
can see it.
Huawei. You're seeing them. Korea Telecoms. There are plenty. There are plenty. There are plenty. Let me search for Alexa. Use their name. You see Alexa? Just searching, I'm seeing different Alexas, right? With their IPs. It's hosted on AWS. So somebody owns this Alexa now, for example. If the person did not secure it properly, because the person has made it available on the internet and he or she can control what he or she is doing in his own house, right? And me, I'm just a random person. Imagine I'm an attacker. Like this person now, this Alexa is hosted in Dublin. Several things can happen here. I'm not teaching you bad thing. We are talking of network defense. And that is why you must defend yourself. So yes, the IP might be available here, but what security measures did you put in place? TLS 1.2, TLS 1.3. How did you secure it? Do you have web access available to the device and all of that? So you see so many. You see so many, and it's not limited to this. When you come for the full class, we will play around with some things, ethically though. So I'm not saying I will teach you bad things. Yeah. For somebody now start asking me, say, sir, maybe you promise that. No. Okay. So basically, what I'm trying to say in the real essence of it is whenever you are talking of IoT, you're looking at first your local area network, and then how that information is now shared over the internet. Now, because we are talking of network defense, you must put parameters in place. Cryptographic technologies must be in place. Strong cryptographic technology must be in place to be able to ensure that these things are well secured, right? And when you talk of cryptography, this is what it looks like. Can you see this? Can someone read this for me?
Cryptography is the practice of developing and using coded algorithms to protect and obscure transmitted information so that it may only be read by those with the permission and ability to decrypt it. Put differently, cryptography obscures communications so that unauthorized parties are unable to access them. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So now, what's the keyword here? Unauthorized. Abi, you don't want unauthorized people to get access to it, right? That's why you're using cryptography, isn't it? Which aligns with the information security principles we have been talking about from the beginning. So we are beginning to now start looking at it in practical form. And how do we do this in those days? Wait, it's not Gen Zs alone that are on this call. How many of us used, what do they call it, post office? Just drop something in the chat box for me if you use post office. Type post in the chat box if you use post office. Oh, genuinely, don't lie. How many of us? Okay, I'm seeing 2 people. Just 2 people. That means it's only Gen Z I have on this call. These 2 people are ancient of time. They are not ancient of days. 3 people. Okay, how many of us know about post office? Just type here in the chat box. If you know about post office, type here inside the chat box. Okay. Oh, interesting. So many of us heard of it. Oh, who is talking of DHL? DHL is not post office. Yeah, they do parcel services. That makes sense. Yeah. Now we're coming up. Okay. So they do parcel services, I'm talking of post office that you buy stamp, 1 kobo, or how many penny. They will stamp on it. You carry the letter and you'll be waiting for love letter from US. for like 3 months or 4 months. God, we have suffered. Thank God for WhatsApp. Thank God for email. So it's very interesting, when some of these things, and it's still going to get faster for us, thank God for AI. Things are becoming much faster that generation to come might not even understand, what those things are. But by and large, post office was just in the business of sending and receiving letters, right? You don't want your letters to get lost on the way, right? So you have to write the letter, put it inside an envelope, seal it, take it to the post office, talk to the postman or the post receptor, right? Who will receive your post, your mail or your letter, right? When they collate it together, they will collate letters that are going to the same area together, right? So you have letters. Let's use Nigeria as an example. I'm in Lagos. I wrote letter to somebody in Cross River, for example. Then we don't have all these fast vehicles that move. All those traveling. You might travel a journey itself in the night. The roads were not that, that big or that good. So you hardly have people that will quickly gather themselves and say they are traveling. So if you are booking to go to, maybe, for example, I'm just using an example, a random example. You want to go to Cross River from Lagos, you might need to book maybe 4 weeks ahead before you get the vehicle. So before your letter will even leave Lagos, I'm just using it as an example. Before your letter will leave Lagos, it will have gone through so many, stuff. But they've collected it from you, they've put the stamp. Now, as they put that stamp, they have a vehicle that will carry all the letters. So that vehicle might just move from Lagos and stop at Akure and drop letter. It will move small again and stop at so place and drop the letters for those places, right? Sometimes when it gets to, maybe the vehicle cannot move a long distance. When it gets to like Akure, we hand over your own letter from Lagos to them. And those in Akure will now need to like repackage. They're not tampering with your information. They're not tampering with your letter, but they will carry it and put it in another bag or another box that is going towards that direction, southwest, southeast. Do you get? They will carry it and put it there, and then they will put their own stamp that yes, they've received it from their own location. Do you get? Before pushing it, to wherever it's going, before it will now finally get to you. And before it will get to you, sir, there is a postman at your own location that is working in the post office that will carry the letter and will now trek, street by street till they get to the number that you put on the letter. Number so Aki Kinikan Street by Kinikan adjacent Kinikan. That's where they will now go and drop the letter. And all of this, yeah, because it's Nigeria, maybe 5 days it has gotten to you. You get. But imagine the one going to US, it will go through the sea. It will take days, at times that it will take months before letters. Oh, Popsy has traveled. Before you get the letter, you're already, sweating. So cryptographic principles have been in existence, for that long, right? And let me use this example. There's one basic example that everyone should know. I think I remember that. Yes, this is it. This is one of the earliest form and the simplest ancient cryptographic technique. It's the simplest. Now you will understand the area I'm coming from when I'm using this as example. So you're looking at this. You're looking at this. We call it the Caesar cipher. You remember Julius Caesar, right? And the story around Julius Caesar. It's a simple ancient substitution cipher where each letter in the plain text is shifted a fixed number of positions down the alphabet. Why? For example, with a shift of 3, A is becoming D, right? And when you did EHE, you remember when we were talking about brute forcing, password dictionary attack. I remember for those that were active on that call that day, we're looking at dictionary attack. We're looking at different methods by which you can carry out a brute force. In fact, you even created a file then to be able to use it for your stuff, for username and the password using Hydra as the case is. And then you deciphered some hashes, back then. So if you look at this now, let me see. Let me see. Okay, I know what I will do. Online. There's a particular site I love to use. I remember that. But let's see what these ones have to offer. 1 and 2. Okay, Planet Calc. Yeah, they're the ones. So this is the yeah, blah blah blah. Caesar Cipher is one of the oldest known encryption methods. It's straightforward, right? It's just shifting an alphabet transformation, and then you have the ROTN, where N is the shift value, right? RO means rotate, right? Because it's a cyclic shift. Okay, so let's do this. Who can give us a word you want to Caesar Cipher? You want to encrypt? Anybody? Just mention it. Unmute and mention it.
Program.
Huh?
Program.
Nigeria.
Program.
Yes, program.
Yes. Now note this. So this only works for alphabet, right? And I will still do further explanation that will now tell us all the other cryptographic techniques that we've been hearing, right? So now we want to just play around with the word program. So you see this, if I say calculate, it will give me the possible shifts and the possible values. So R0T0, rotation 0 is program, right? That's the word we gave it. So if I send this word to you and I put that I am using ROT1, when you want to decipher it, you just move one step backwards, isn't it? Are we together? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So you see it. So ROT13, which means that I shifted P, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, till I got to ROT13. So if I just tell you on this call now, septens, I think that one is still a bit easy to pronounce. That's why I was looking for it. Septens, you should already know what I mean. So imagine that our daily conversation, we decide to always shift the values. Do you know what that means? It means we have created another language entirely. I don't know if I'm making sense. So let's decide now on this call now, all of us who have decided that, oh, we will be communicating just using Caesar Cipher, right? So I can write a word that, oh, this program will finish next week. And we want to use ROT13 for it. Let's see how sweet that can be. ROT13. I beg, can somebody help me read it? Can somebody help me read it?
Gov Sebentia Ivi Save Aki Ziga.
Exactly. Which language did we just speak?
That was Russia.
We can give it a new name. It's fun. Yeah, I see someone's hand is up. Umbok. Please go ahead and speak.
Take the thing backward. While you mentioned we have to take one step backward, my network like disconnected, so I didn't get what you mean by one step backward, and I'm saying
Okay,
like
so
13
I
step
was
back.
then I was talking about ROT1. Our ROT0, which is our rotation 0, that's the main information we are giving, is saying this program will finish next week. Abi, if we are using ROT1, it means that I would have to go back one step when I want to decrypt what you encrypted for me. Do you get? Or, like I said, we're using an example. Let's use ROT13. You know, that one is far, right? This is what this program will finish next week. This is what it looks like if we're using rotation 13. Or we're using rotation 19. Blah is if Feb, week I just spoke Russian. So it's as simple as this, that
That's Chinese.
Okay. Okay, so the cryptographic transformation process has grown over the years, right? From something as simple as this to something as complex as, let me do this, SHA-256. You can see this. It has grown to a point where you can now use something like this, even though it's obsolete also, MD5. These are algorithms. Look at this. Message digest algorithm is widely used function, producing what? 128-bit hashes. When you come to class, we'll play with some of these things, and was designed by who? Ronald Rivest, right, in 1991 to replace earlier hash function MD4, and so on and so forth. You talk about the depths of it, if you want to go into the technical, arrangement of it and all of that. Do you get? So it's deeper when you're talking of cryptography. And then now, you now realize that, oh, the password you are typing, we were talking about wireless security, right? I'm doing this because of time. We're talking about wireless security. And for example, I'm talking of WPA method. WPA is Wi-Fi protected access. It's a security suite of is a suite of security protocols which has grown over the years. You have WPA, which is the ordinary one, WPA2, WPA3. Why are we having these different versions? One had vulnerability. They upgraded to the other one. One was more secure than the other. One is for a particular environment and is faster, right? To secure wireless networks, right? And you can't talk about wireless network without talking about the different types of wireless, because wireless too gets different types, but all of them fall under the IEEE 802.11 standard, right? IEEE 802.11 standard. Please take note of this. IEEE 802.11 standard, which talks about the wireless network standard. You can see it. So Wi-Fi 1 to 3, they are early standards that operates with 2.4 gigahertz. Have you ever faced this issue that you go somewhere, you want to connect your phone or your laptop, everybody is connecting, but your phone cuckoo is not just connecting, only God knows why. So it is either your phone it's either your phone is older than the technology they are using, or the technology is more obsolete than the phone you are using. Do you get? So that's the whole idea. So when you see this on network devices and all of that, you see 802.1 11BG. That's between Wi-Fi 1 and 3. It's running on 2.4 gigahertz. When you say 2.4 gigahertz, you're looking at frequency. That's physics. Going back to physics, I don't want to go into depth, Jerry. lambda wavelengths. It talks about the transmission, how information is going over the internet. That's what over the connection. Sorry, that's what it means. Or you talk about 802.11n, which is Wi-Fi 4, which was when they included this in the technology. This MIMO, we call it multiple input and multiple output. It's still big English, because what we are looking at is we want a Wi-Fi that can do multiple sending of information out and multiple receiving of information. That is what it is. And that is what your LTE, your 4G, that's what it came with. Your 5G, that is what is coming with. That is what is making data speed faster. That is why you can send information out and receive. And it's not like Edge those days that you you make a post, it will be rolling and rolling on more. We have suffered though, but God has helped us. You want to download something, you go and sleep in cyber cafe for 3 days. After 3 days, it just downloaded 5 MB. No, it was not that bad. I'm just kidding. But you understand what I mean. There's a gap of growth over these few years. And then you have 802.11 AC, which is talking about Wi-Fi 5, 5 gigahertz data rates. You see now, as the year improved and the versions improved, the speed became much more better, right? 802.11ax is using Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 6E. Then you have increased efficiency and capacity, speed. You can download, like you just click download, as long as the network. Now, there's something about speed that we need to know. The laptop has its own speed. The network that the laptop is connecting or the phone is connecting to has its own speed, right? Some elements in that network also have their own speed. So there's something that will carry all the average speed and ensure that the speed of the internet does not finish your it doesn't finish your small speed on your phone or the small speed on your laptop. I'm just explaining it in a layman way so that we can all understand. Do you get that? And then you're looking at Wi-Fi 7, which is it's going to be faster. And why is it going to be faster? Because of AI. You want to have a robot that can do everything. You want the robot to be fast. And the robot now, you don't have the storage inside your house. The storage is somewhere located in a data center, somewhere outside your country. So you need a fast speed internet connection to that robot. And when I say robot, I'm not talking of, because now when you mention robot, everybody will thinking it's something that is created like a human being that is thinking, that is moving around. No, it's something that can literally work on its own. It doesn't even need to have a human figure or human shape. It's something that can decipher, process things on its own. That's what we call a robot, And then what are the key components? Access points, stations. So if you go out now in your area and you just look up, anywhere you see those masts, those big masts, you can liken them to access point. You can liken them to access points. And why do you need them? You need them because you need to be able to communicate from one location to another. You are based in Lagos, I'm based in US, or I'm based in Ibadan, you are based in Abuja, or you are based in the East, I'm based somewhere else. Now, I will need a mast closer to me in Anambra State to be able to send information via wireless connection. And the moment you are sending information to the mast is pushing that information to the base station transceivers, right? To the base station, the central base station where gadgets, everything has been put there. Before that information now is now pushed out to another mast, from another mast to another mast, till it now finally gets to your own location. Sorry, can you mute your mic? I'm having echoes here. Prince, I think your mic is still up. Hello?
Okay, sir.
So you can mute your
Yes,
mic.
I'm
Yeah.
coming, sir.
So
Sorry, sir.
till it now finally gets to your location. And then because of the different technologies, you have MIMO, multiple inputs, multiple outputs. You don't want to have traffic congestion like the one that used to happen in Lagos when you are going home in the evening around 5, and then they have known already because it's rush hour last man will be outside. Traffic controllers will be outside. Those last man and traffic controllers are the CSMA/CA or CSMA/CD that you are seeing here. That's carrier sense, multiple access with collision avoidance. You don't want, number one, traffic. You don't want people to jam themselves, right? So those standards are put together to be able to ensure that you get, number one, speed, higher speed. People will quickly use the road and go, right? And that's what happens when you are making a phone call. You are not MTN or Airtel or Glo or any of the network service provider will not just give you a dedicated highway. Everybody going to the island will follow Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos, right? And it's like that everywhere. So you cannot stay on Third Mainland Bridge and say this is my own. No, you use Third Mainland Bridge for the period that you are going to your office. When you are coming back, you use it. Another person too will use it. That is how network communication is. That is how packets or inside your network, you know, that's how they move. Either local area network and wide area network. That is how information goes in and come out. And when they go in and come out, you have a security post that needs to be there. You have last man positions that needs to be there. You know, all of those things have to be in place. So when you are saying all of these things, that's when we start talking about cryptographic techniques, you know, that puts all the pieces together, because you don't want to be going on the road and then they hijack your vehicle because your vehicle is not secured, right? That's the essence of using a cryptographic principle. Or if your vehicle that is moving over Third Mainland Bridge is like some of the buses in Lagos that they don't even have knobs. They don't even have knobs to open the door. Imagine what the security looks like. That's like your data is moving and it's not secured. But imagine that your data is stored inside a bullion van. And an example of that bullion van is, you know, the cryptographic hash function, that they cannot open the box until they decrypt it. And for them to decrypt it or more, they will have to sweat. Now, there is nothing in this world that is not hackable. Don't forget what I said. There is nothing in this world that is not hackable. The Oyibo that did pencil is the one that also did eraser, right? So there's nothing in this world that you cannot hack. The only difference is time, and then also the security system that you put in place. So for example, in 2026, if you are using Caesar Cipher, you know what that means. In, in 2026, if you are using an old protocol, you know what it means. Do you get? So that's where the security aspect is. And then note this, either the type of medium you are using, wireless or wired, right? Data security, information security is very important. Now, I will ask this question. What's the difference between data security and information security? I see someone's hand is up. Habib, please go ahead. What's the difference between data security? You said, Habib?
It's not actually for the question you're about to ask, sir. I have a question to ask you. When you go to that part of say, when you cite an example of everybody using Third Mainland Bridge, as in interpreting it to how network providers, MTN and the likes, how everybody use the same, what did you call it?
The same bridge.
The same
channel.
No, the same channel.
Yes.
You know, in movies, I don't know. I just want you to educate me more. You know, there are times that, like in the battlefield, in war zones, or in some situations, there's this special phone that the generals usually bring out, that they will pull off, as in they will turn around the antenna from the back to the top. to make phone calls.
Yeah.
I observed that that particular device has a special kind of connection, like non-interrupted, or maybe it's connected to the satellite or something. I don't know. If
you are correct, that's the answer, Seth. It's connected to the satellite. So let me do that distinction before people start answering that question. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So there's what we call satellite communication, right? And there's what we call terrestrial communication. Do you get that? Let me open it on Google so that it will make more sense. Satellite communication and terrestrial communication, right? So terrestrial is what we are used to, right? When you say, oh, GSM, sending video from one point to another, GSM is General System for Mobile, Abi. That's the most common that everybody know.
Yes, sir.
And back then it used to be 2G. It has grown and grown. And they have different technologies or techniques that they used in propagating signals or sending signals out and receiving signals, basically, which was what I just explained some seconds ago, but not in technical term. In technical term, you are looking at TDMA, time division, multiplexing, frequency depletion, with all the long English, let's just leave them there. So when we are talking of terrestrial communication, we're talking of a system that can facilitate audio, video, data, and other types of communication within a local geographical area. That's where GSM comes in, right? Now, before I will talk of the difference between satellite and terrestrial, which is very obvious. Elon Musk, what's the name of that is internet service again? Starlink, right? Starlink.
Yes, sir.
If MTN is not working today, right, you can still connect to Starlink and you access the internet.
Sure, sir.
Exactly. Why? Because you are connecting to the satellite that is in the orbit, right? And the kind of phones or devices that you use to connect to that, your normal terrestrial phones are not designed that way. That's what gave birth to the likes of Turaya back then. Turaya. You can still see it.
Attacker Turaya.
Attacker Turaya. Yeah, an OG you be. From waiting you just talk now. So that's Turaya. It's a very, very wonderful phone. Let me see. Not phone number. It's the phone I'm looking for. Yeah, it looks like this. See it. Single SIM unlocked. If you want to buy, it's about 3.2 million. Still available. You can see that. So it's let network disappear from everywhere. They will still connect. And those ones, they're using satellite communications. Now, an example of satellite communication closest to you is your DSTV. Right? I think that's making sense. We can relate with that.
Yes, sir.
And DSTV is using a KU band. You can see this. It's using a KU band. And the frequency is between 12 gigahertz and 18 gigahertz antennas. Your phone don't have up to this. You see all the things we've been discussing about Wi-Fi since has been under 2.5 gigahertz, isn't it? And the moment you talk of KU band, now you can relate. The DSTV you are seeing basically is using the KU band technology. And then we also have the C band technology. These were the ones that was used for satellites, for internet connections within offices back in the days. I don't want to go deep into all of this. Let me just cut it out so that I'll come back to the basic difference. So what is the difference? Unlike satellite communication, which relies on space-based satellites, Terrestrial communication depends on what? Fixed and mobile network located on the ground. So you need masts, you need, the different technologies, and it all started from the days of CDMA, right? CDMA, wireless technology and all of that. But this is not to bore us with a lot of stories, you just have a little understanding of this is what is needed, except you want to go and read telecoms, or any of that. But it's good that you have an idea so that you'll be able to deep dive if you want later, or just focus on cybersecurity or the security aspect of things, as the case is. So back to my question, what is the difference between, oh, I'm seeing someone's hand up again already. Okay, let's answer this question, then I will now take more questions from us. What is the difference between, what was the question again? Information security and data security. Okay, so Mercy, number one to answer. Go ahead.
Yes, information security protects data. It protects people that handles data. It also protects systems that are involved with data. It ensures that no unauthorized access
very
for the data.
unpredictable, and you'll never know when I spike. I'll always spike when you least expect it, and I could make you laugh or make you stressed. You never know.
Hello. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, can you come again? I lost you there.
Okay, I said information security protects data. It protects people that handle data. It protects systems too that are involved with data, and it ensures that no unauthorized. Oh God.
I'm with you.
Oh, do ask on me, please unmute. It ensures that no unauthorized access can have the data, and it ensures that the data cannot be modified, and it is readily available to authorized users. While data security is protecting the data itself. It protects data on transit. It protects data that is at rest, and protects data that is in use. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, I would try. You got the English definition of everything. It's okay. Okay, the next person. A wonderful round of applause for her. Digital round of applause. You gave a good attempt. Okay. The next person, Jakul. Sorry, help me on mute.
Good evening. Good evening. It's Jachukuma Jachi. That's the name.
Oh, Jachukuma. It's gonna be like saying now one foreign name. Go ahead.
Yes, it's Jachukuma. So good evening.
Yeah.
So what I understand about information security is information security protects all forms of information, both digital and physical. Like it protects every form, while data security protects digital information, that's data in transit, and anything that concerns data itself. That's what data security does.
Okay. A wonderful round of applause for him also. Next person, I saw some hands up again. Omeke Lovina, unmute and speak. I saw your hand up the other time.
Yes. Good evening. Yeah, the last person that spoke just
okay. No, the person did not say what you want to say. Oh, yeah, say what you want to say.
Okay, data security is protects only the digital assets, like data itself, information, both physical, digital, and all around. So that is just the difference.
Okay, so that's I think it's very, very clear, and we need to understand those small lines that separate some of these things. The reason why I'm saying this is when you have to write some exams, they can use this to confuse you. Do you get? And also, as a practitioner, It is very, very important to be able to know those differences very well, because those differences are what will set you apart, right? Just like Jachukuma mentioned, right? Information security is talking about information. It's talking about everything, right? While data security is just a small aspect of information security, right? So if you look at information security, you can literally say, okay, what are the types of information security? Number one can be system security or endpoint security, right? Number two can be application security. Are we seeing that now? Number three can be, let's talk of network security. Number four can also now be, let's talk of data security. All the four things I just mentioned now are the elements that makes up a network, right? You can't talk about the network security without talking about the computers or the phones that are connected on that system, on that network. And the computers and the phones are what you are calling endpoints, isn't it? And the applications that are running on the computers and the phones are the applications that needs to be secured, right? And when those applications are secured, that means the data you send from your banking app, I will use banking app so that you don't forget. Data you will send from your banking app, right, to the bank, be it your PIN, your username, your password, the transaction alerts, and all the necessary things you are doing there, the data you will send in there needs also to be secured. So information security is looking at that information from the beginning to the end of its life cycle. And you remember at the beginning when we talk about data, we talk about raw data and processed data, right? You're looking at raw data. Raw data is data that has not been touched. It's still in one form, right? It's still in its raw form. Processed data is what we always refer to as information. So you process raw data, you process flour to get bread, you process flour to get cake, you process flour to get so many products, right? And that's how, it is basically. And you have to secure it from end to end. That's where the main work is. So as a security personnel that is just starting your career or that is already in that career, you need to be able to look at things from, in quote, first principle. What did I say? First principle, right? First principle is key and is the fundamental and basic truth that you can ever have in anything. You need to start looking at your reasoning, your thinking. This job, this cybersecurity job is a thinking process because you're going to be dealing with a whole lot of different elements. So it's not meant to make you afraid. As long as you can wake up and do your day-to-day activities, your day-to-day life, cybersecurity should be your life. It should be what you are. It should be the sweetest and easiest thing for you, except you are a nonchalant person, right? There are some people that don't care about security. I've had friends like that. Even me too, I've been there before. I don't care about some things. I don't do. When the challenges now come up, I'll now be like, I didn't I know. No, you knew before. All you needed to do is put policies in place, right? And then we'll keep getting better, we'll keep growing every day. So the moment you can relate it with your day-to-day life, you will realize that this thing is not as hard as we always think of it, to be, right? So that's that about that. Let me quickly move back here as I begin to round up for today. Okay, mobile application security best practice. You ensure that the apps do not save passwords, avoid the use of query strings while handling sensitive data, use code obfuscation and encryption. We've spoken about encryption to secure application secure code. This is at back-end level. Implement, when I say back-end, I mean at developer level. the people that are building the app, right? They must put all of those things in place. If not, customers will be falling into a lot of issues. Use SSL/TSL. I know you have been told about this in ethical hacking essentials. Who can tell me what's the full meaning of SSL again?
Secure socket layout.
Secure socket layer. TSL, Lunko?
Transmission layer.
Transport
Okay,
layer.
transport
layer what?
security.
Good. IPsec, Lunko? IPsec.
Internet protocol
security.
Security. Triple P, Lunko? You might not know that one. DNS, Lunko? Triple P is point-to-point protocol. DNS, Lunko?
Domain name service.
Domain name service.
Domain name system.
NAT,
Domain
Lunko?
name system.
Network address translation.
Network address translation. IP, Lunko?
Internet protocol.
Internet protocol.
SNMP, Lunko?
Simple network management
Simple mail
protocol.
transfer protocol.
Simple mail transfer protocol.
Simple mail. Okay. ICMP, Lunko?
Internet
control
protocol
message
management.
Internet control message protocol.
Now Google you use. Now Google you
No.
be.
No, I did not use. I did not.
These people are hot. Please laugh for yourself. Drop a love emoji and clap for yourself. That's a very good one. So now that's another aspect which is very important, right? We need to take it very serious. For us to be able to be security persons, we need to speak the security language, right? And speaking the security language, like I always say, starts with you understanding acronyms, right? Because sometimes it could look bulky, right? Oh, this thing is too big. Or where do I want to start from? I don't even know. This thing is just too like that. How do I become better at it? I would want us to play around with at least 100 cybersecurity related acronyms, right? At least play around with it. I remember back in those days, we used to use it to joke. If I see you like, Namdi, this one way they look like gnat like this. The moment I throw it to you, you must be able to tell me what I mean by gnat, right? The moment I say, oh, Anthony, why you they do like DNS like this now? Your answer would be more DNS. And domain naming system be that now. You see they look like IPsec like this. Do you get that way? It would be part of you. Do you get? So when it is time for you to recall them, it's not going to be hard. It's going to be very easy. Do you get? So make it a day-to-day stuff for you. And if you are the type that is detailed enough that you want to use, what do they call that? Cards. Is it memorization cards? Memory cards, right? That you print all of them out into, something that will help you to remember some of those things. It would help fast track the way you learn, right? And the moment you engage in that, you just realize that you are growing every day. That is it. Enable over-the-air encryption using SSL. These are best practices that are put in place. I spoke about WPA the other time. You see it, right? Enable over-the-air encryption using SSL, using TLS, using VPN, using WPA. You see all this English, it looks big now. But based on our explanation earlier, this should be a bit much easier for you to understand. But like I said, this is still essential. There's still a long way to go, right? And you can do it. People with the security, we don't get two heads, right? You can do it. Just be determined and be focused and be ready to take up challenges. Be ready to take up challenges. Mobile network security guidelines. This one, I don't need to even talk about it too much, right? You need to, do I need to tell you how to secure your phone? You that can secure your phone from your boyfriend for so many years, and he doesn't know that you have you have, you have some information there, or she has
Why
some
are you clearing
information.
your truth?
It's what you understand what I mean? So you guys are network security guys. I already know from the onset. So disable interface such as Bluetooth. You don't leave your Bluetooth on, especially when you are in areas where you don't know what works there. Gone are those days of infrared, yeah. And then Wi-Fi. Don't leave it on when you are not using it, because somebody can carry out series of attacks. That's ethical hacking essentials. You can carry out evil twin attack. You can carry out war driving. You can carry out, think of the attacks you can think of. You can do anything. And set Bluetooth enabled device to non-discoverable mode, yada, 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 and so on and so forth. Avoid connecting to unknown Wi-Fi. If you connect, now anything you do on that network, they will get to see it, especially in the hotels, right? Hotels, airports, and some other places, depending on where you're connecting from. Connect your device to encrypted Wi-Fi networks only. Configure web accounts to use secure connections, HTTPS. And when you see HTTPS, it doesn't mean that, yes, you can't still be attacked. You can still be attacked. Oh, it only makes that, you are safe a bit here. Do you get? Because attacks now are more sophisticated than we can ever think. General guidelines for mobile platform security: do not install too many applications. This is very key. Many people don't know that, right? An application that has expired or that is obsolete on your phone is an attack surface area, especially when that application seeks, anytime you on the phone, it tries to do updates, auto updates. It tries to connect to the internet. Is a possible, entry point. Perform security assessment on the application architecture, maintain configuration control and management. Install applications from trusted application store. All those ones that you are scrolling on Facebook, and they say, click to download now. If you download through this link, you will get 50,000 naira. Click to download now. If you click, your phone have go. As you have gone, it disappear. I have used it to do Sahara. That's how, some people get their, pictures out there, their nude content out there, without them, requesting. You're just doing your stuff on a normal day, but you have clicked a link somewhere that has exposed you to the entire world, and that's the damage is not here. You just stay secure, stay safe. That's why you see many people using laptops nowadays. They will cover the camera because you don't want to avoid stories that touch. Okay, securely wipe or delete the data when disposing of a device. Oh, my phone, I'm tired of this phone, I need to buy a new one. And then you just deleted apps from the phone. You didn't even remove your Google account from the phone, and you sold the phone. And the new person is a thief, in quote. I don't know him, but the new person might be a thief. And then you use that to gain access into your system. That can be devastating also. Disable wireless access such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth if they are not in use. Never connect to separate networks such as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth simultaneously. So these are a few of the information needed for you to stay secured and stay safe, online. I will be bringing this particular network defense essential to a close. Like I said, because of the short time, we can't exhaust everything here. But the main aim of this program, aside our corporate social responsibility, is to bring everyone into a level of awareness that you need to be security conscious, number one, in your day-to-day life with your digital life, right? Because AI has come to stay, and AI is going to do times 100 of whatsoever thing you have seen, both positively or negatively, depending on the mindset that is using, AI. Please, let's stay safe out there. Let's be responsible out there. Don't use some of this knowledge you have learned so far for bad things, and let's ensure that we keep improving. I'll be looking forward to many that will join us in class like starting on Monday, and I would really love everyone to be there. That's by the way. And then finally, next week will be time to be able to have the last leg of this free training, which has to do with digital forensic essentials. We have taken the two major core parts of the essentials, which is ethical hacking essentials and network defense essentials. Those two are well enough to start with. Then when we now take digital forensic essentials, those are specialized areas that you look into, right? And then I know definitely it's going to be a wonderful time. Are there any questions for me, for us? I see your hand is up. Please unmute and speak.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay, Gabriel, you can go ahead now.
Among the things you said about securing our mobile devices, you said you shouldn't connect two networks simultaneously. Example, your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth. Can you just throw more light on that? Because I don't think I understand. I do that almost every day of my life.
If you do that almost every day of your life, that means you are constantly using them, right? So the idea is you should not leave them on when you are not using them. Do you get? That's one. Okay. Then two, like we mentioned when we're discussing about attack surface area, right, to your bank account. You don't want to. So for example, me now, I have to go to my bank and disable some methods of withdrawing. I've blocked my USSD. I don't want to use USSD's app alone. I want to be using, right? I don't even want, I wrote a letter to the bank that I don't even want alert from that stuff. Number one, because that deduction of 44 naira was just too mundane and useless for me. Do you get? So I said, I don't want to, if they want to send anything, they should send it to my mail. Do you get? So I can get my information. So I know definitely, my information is coming directly from my mail. Do you get? So if an attack happens, through, for example, which is not very feasible though, but if an attack happens through my message, SMS message, I will know who to hold responsible. Do you get? That's the idea behind not having your Bluetooth and this thing run simultaneously. But I understand your context. You're using the wireless earpiece, right? And at the same time, you are connecting your phone to what do they call it? Laptop. Your own Wi-Fi. And your Wi-Fi is leading you to the internet. Exactly. So as long as you're using it, yeah, it's fine. There's no stuff. But imagine that you just left them on and you're not using them. Anybody can hijack it. And for the second Wi-Fi, that means you're connected to your own network. So you need to ensure that your network is secured. Default passwords are not there. What are default passwords? Admin, username, password, admin.
Password 123.
Password 123. All those things. So by the time you secure them, it's not that they cannot try to hack it. They can try to hack it, but it will take them a longer time. They're making it more difficult. At least you will be able to catch them before anything will happen. That's the whole idea. Okay. Abib, yes, go ahead, unmute and speak.
Yeah, Mr. Isaiah, thank you, and God bless you for all the time and the knowledge shared. And God Almighty continue to increase you, protect you, and grant all your heart desires.
Amen. And you too.
Mine is related to what my brother just asked now. That what are the guidelines? And thank God you've clarified it. But sir, is it possible while I'm connected to my Wi-Fi and I'm using my Bluetooth as well, is it possible to still be hacked or my security to be breached, sir?
Yeah, hacking can happen anytime. It depends. The hacking happening is dependent on one, the level of knowledge of the attacker, right? So, for example, of recent, I think I was watching on the news yesterday or day before yesterday, that there was a kidnapping issue that happened recently, and they caught the kidnappers. When they say they caught the kidnappers, I just shouted. I said, these ones are local boys that are trying to learn to learn kidnapping work. Sorry, I'm using it to laugh, but you know, it was funny. Do you understand? Because a real kidnapper that has been in the business for long, right? There are some mistakes you you will not expect them to do, you know. And then sometimes, yeah, or most times, when God is involved, they will definitely expose them in a really cool way that you'll be wondering, like, wait, do you people even know? Is it the same kidnapper they have been talking about? Can they be this foolish? Do you understand? Especially when they were narrating how they caught them. I was like, these ones are just hungry boys that were forming kidnapping. And they caught them. You know, but those that have been doing the business for long, you know, those ones, some of them are even trained, you know, probably they've gotten partial training. There was a time it was a random thing back then. You know, they will say, oh, they will go and start a training in the military terrain or in a paramilitary environment, and they will not complete it, and then they get out. So it's largely dependent on the knowledge of the attacker as at the time the hacking was happening. But that doesn't still mean that you shouldn't protect yourself. Ensure you put in quote best practice. You know, change default password, change your password from time to time. Don't share your PIN with anybody. You know, make some areas private. You know, sometimes on some devices, on some phones, you can isolate applications, right? On my phone now, I have a place I can hide some applications. That God forbid, I go in and they attack you on the way. Oh yeah, bring your phone, transfer this thing. By the time you open one application that doesn't have money inside, they tell you where's the other one. You open another one, it doesn't have money, but your real one that has money has been saved inside the vaults. You know, in most phones they call it vaults. You know, and all of that. That can take care of some things. You know, you can't eliminate threats. Threats are out there anytime, any day. What you can gain control over are the vulnerabilities that can happen, right? So, the vulnerabilities that exist and the ones that might exist, right? That's the one you will pay attention on and make sure that, I will need to update this application. I will need to download a new one. When I'm downloading, I download alone from Play Store or iOS Store. I don't download from any other place. You know, all those, you know, basic stuff are what you put in place. Okay, so that's that, Abib. Thank you. In the absence of any other question, I hand over back to Mr. Samuel. Mr. Samuel and Opeyemi, thank you so much. Over to you.
There is no 100% security anywhere in the world. The more the ease of life, the more the security in it. One of the beauty about cybersecurity is also job security.